Agreed.
Yeah.
And we are live. Just checking to make sure I've got the right
I spent more money on my
written.
first dice set than Martin spent on dice over 30 odd years of roleplaying. This is what happened when a girl gets into roleplaying.
But, like, dice
Yes.
are 100% worth it, no matter what.
Exactly.
My niece, who got seriously into gaming and is in the podcast that I listen to every week, podcast, she went, I'm going out shopping for dice.
Mm-hmm.
Got pearlescent, iridescent, glow in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
She spent about $300 on dice.
Oh my gosh!
That glow in the dark is interesting
one
until
day.
you
She
realise.
went from, I have the old set of dice my brother gave me, to
Yep.
I have more dice than I'll ever need in my life.
Yeah. So,
In one shot.
And we are live and recording.
Yeah,
Cool.
we're talking about dice and the
Yeah.
inappropriate amounts of money we're all foolish
It's
enough to
important.
spend on them because the corporate people know how to make their money on geeks.
Yeah, I've got Sith dice somewhere or other.
I think, yeah, I have more dice sets than I actually need, but they're 100% worth it every single time.
Look, there's no such thing as more than you ever need. It depends on what you're rolling for.
I just need to get a really high enough level character, and then all of the dice will be necessary.
And then
Maybe not the sets, but the dice.
when you think about it, you have to have
Yeah.
extra dice for when your other dice are in dice jail for not rolling well
Well,
on
I
hits.
have cursed
Use
dice
that.
for players.
I saw you showed me that.
Well, not only that, the normal dice I have,
Yeah.
that I have for the players who forget their dice,
Yeah.
are generally cursed.
Yeah, that's fair.
Do remember you do need about 10d6 on top of your polyhedrons.
Oh yeah, I've got lots of
Less so in
extras.
5th edition than in other editions of the game. They don't
Less
have
so,
a huge
but-
amount of dice, but not like Shadowrun where you need
Oh, God,
50
no.
odd d6.
Oh
Yeah. Or Hero System, where having a set of 50 is a good idea.
yeah. Something tells me I'm not playing enough games then, because that would give me an excuse to get more dice.
That's what I'm hearing.
I really don't need an excuse though.
I got a block of dice a while ago because I was doing both Shadowrun, hero games, and doing Car Wars, which uses lots and lots
Oh
and
yeah,
lots of
yeah,
decent
I
things.
know Car Wars. I think we've got that.
So I have a block of 100 4.5mm dice.
Wow. That's
I love that.
awesome.
Well, it was so I could supply a table full of people at a
Convention?
Yeah.
at a convention or just at home for
Yeah.
for Car Wars.
Yeah. And Car Wars is still a lot of fun, even though it is time consuming at times.
The Car Wars 6 is a hell of a lot faster,
Ah.
and it's far faster on setting up and putting away.
Alright, I've got all my White Dragon
Gotta have
tributes,
it.
shrines. Not currently playing Calquix at the moment, but Calquix is my favourite character.
What was your first character?
It's the White Dragon with the jazz wings.
Okay, so now
Yeah,
getting
jazz
back.
hands.
No, jazz wings. She's the dragon. Jazz wings. In fact,
oh,
jazz wings was one of her special abilities.
Ooh.
She could use it to charm people. And she made friends. It was jazz wings and coffee. She made friends with an avatar from the underworld by offering to make him coffee because he'd never had coffee before, and so they sat down and had coffee.
Oh, nice.
Well,
well.
her two league mates were like down in the bottom of his pit, and he's like, "This is such a good coffee. Do you want me to do anything for you?" She's like, "Try not to kill my friends. Maybe bring them up here." And he's like, "Sure."
Nice.
So he did.
Well, considering two of them on their introduction decided to attack said
Avatar. Yeah.
Oh, look, it's the avatar of this guy.
Attack! Deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so and they didn't quite
Right, back
get
to the
that
point.
not everything scales.
Right.
So you are up to session number 68.
Yep.
Your characters are currently in the Sylvan Realm trying to find the 12 keys of Ilsundal, who is a Fey Lord who became one of the Elven gods. But still considered a Fey Lord for the whole sense of Fey.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Which means that probably just as mischievous as most of the Fey
Most
are
other
in
Fae, yeah.
We're trying to find the 12 keys of the what?
Ilsundal,
The
Yes.
Fey.
who's a Fey Lord.
Fey Lord, yep.
The elf boss god.
Yeah. I forgot it as soon as I got halfway through the sentence.
And my patron.
Yes. Which is why I gather you're very thrilled to have the holy relic that we collected on the... Are we still in that?
Yes.
Near that dead tree /
We spent
skeleton?
we spent the night in that cave.
Yeah, we appropriately...
Yep. You came back to that cave after doing some other traveling.
Can you spell Ilsendor for me? You don't have it written down anywhere?
No, not handily.
I'll look it up. You
It's
run
spelled
down.
basically as it's pronounced.
Yeah, ILSILDUR usually.
Y-L-S-I-L
Ilsendal.
DAL.
D-A-L.
Or
Thank
DUR.
you.
Ilsendur is the Tolkien, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
Tolkien.
Yeah,
Ilsendur.
that's why I was asking how you spelt it, because I'm like, this sounds suspiciously like another character I've
It is.
heard of.
So it's ILSUNDAL.
Yeah, God, so quick. I-L.
ILSUNDAL.
Oh, well, that's how I was kind of spelling it.
I try to pronounce it as I see it read, even if in a lot of
Ilsendal.
cases you can pronounce it differently based on placement,
True.
which can be quite frustrating when you say one name because of how it's written. It's like, but it's written this way. Why are we saying it that way?
To be fair, most names I've written down in my notes are spelled differently every single time, so I'm just like, I know approximately what this is.
That's just it. In a medieval fantasy world, spelling's optional.
Yep. And
You still have to get your meaning across.
and every pronunciation that people make, I say, is valid whether you're correct by the book or not. So if you pronounce it differently, I don't care. So, of our characters tonight, we have two in person. We will have Kesley.
I am playing Kupa Lani Aokai. She goes by Lani. She is a Makai human fighter, weapons master. Here as the muscle of the party, and really just looking out for this group of weirdos as a favor to everybody's favorite dragon.
What,
And
Valkyries? Sorry.
maybe some people's second favorite. And has really made a crew out of her party members, and so she is loyal to the end to them. So,
Sometimes to her own fault.
sometimes.
Well, that's how that works out.
Yep.
Loyalty has its downsides, but it has many upsides.
Oh, yeah.
And then we also have Ariadna.
Also known as Duke and Cover, the Tinkerton Gnome Artificer, who's recently joined the group as well, having gotten themselves lost in that cavern of doorways and decided being lost alone isn't as fun as being lost together, so decided to join the group because they'd have her. Genderless,
Alright,
let's just
so-
go with that.
Them.
So you're the boom gnome.
Mhm. I'd like to say I'm a bomb, but I might explode, so...
Well, I was going to print off an updated sheet for her, but my printer's not communicating well since Christmas.
It's decided
Aw.
it didn't like the lightning strike that killed our modem. There was a literal flash in the kitchen.
Oh no.
And
Wow.
because of network renaming, it's now got a random IP address,
Oh no.
which means every time I boot it up, I've got to redo the whole driver to get things connected to it.
Oh
Which is one of
no.
those fun things.
It's not no fix anymore.
That's annoying.
No, because the router was what went kaboom, which also did the IP addresses for the network. So the new one, unfortunately, doesn't have static IP addresses. So everything is randomly allocated because, as far as it's concerned, you don't need to have a static IP address.
Static IP is normally at the accounting, but I don't know how yours is set up.
Yeah, for some reason, the printer does the driver points to a specific IP address, and
But
every time you try to connect to it, if it's not the same address, it requires you to reinstall it. It's an old printer.
yeah,
Okay, online today we have Paul.
is Paul, who is the celestial walk of Ilsendor, which is why he likes all this Ilsendor stuff. diplomats, healer, occasionally the primary healer, and carrier of the Shadow Elf Moonblade, and therefore approximately boss of a people he has no good resolve and doesn't let it out.
Well, champion of. Champion doesn't always make you the boss. Above the champion is the ruler and the tree keeper. So you generally don't become ruler unless you're being the champion first. Because they like to have the ruler be someone of importance.
Can I take a couple?
Yeah. So I turn up as the champion, and they would then have
It's
to
really yummy.
accept me as
We
leader
don't have 10
for
more
me
in
to be the leader.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Well, we've got to be kicked first before I'll accept you.
Oh, there's that. Apparently, there's bunches of them that do exist, but they're not coherent people as such.
Your
We'll find
character will learn about them more. Peter, you didn't get to spend a lot of time in the Hollow World yet.
Yeah, well, that was going to be issues.
That's okay. I'm sure you can ask Jeremy all about it. Speaking of Jeremy,
Yes, good evening all. I'm playing an Atruaghin tribesman who recently accidentally traded his name and the memory of his name away to a dragon of the Feywild. But he has been sent out by the Atruaghin clans as someone who is effectively too old to still be in the clans, so they wanted to gain the wisdom and knowledge of the world so that he can bring it back to help guide the clans, possibly when they go out war hunting over the rest of the world. We'll see where that comes up.
Am I interpreting this right, Jeremy? You literally stayed with your parents for too long and they kicked you out at 30?
no, at 30 he's beyond marriageable age.
Yeah.
Because the marriageable age cuts off at 25.
Yeah, that's
I was going to say he's a male version of an old maid at this point.
Well, okay, he certainly is the male version of the Mystara, which goes out of my head at the moment.
So now we have to get him some dancing girls.
Yep. Definitely.
But technically, he had been busy while he was growing old at home. He was effectively policeman in the clans, but then Atruaghin.
Out of the clans.
It seems rather harsh if you were dedicating yourself to doing these things to the tribe that they're like, you're too old now, bugger off.
Well, he would then have to go on the children's raids to go off and find a partner, or get raided by one of the children.
Yeah, let's move on.
The other problem he faces is that he lost about 3 years when not the tribe went to him, but apparently 3 years went by for the tribe.
Oh,
so that made
okay.
sure.
I so want to see him be hunted and captured by a 13-year-old.
No, that wouldn't catch him.
Well, the
He's too quick.
Not quick enough to avoid a fey dragon and having to give up your name to save yourself.
Yeah. Actually, we'll be more sort of correct about these and say hunted by an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just be a little bit more politically correct.
I guess if he got married and had a name, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Getting married, giving the name.
That would be a very Renaissance man thing to do, to take the girl's name.
I would say it's whoever snags the other has to take the name of the snagger.
Yeah.
So both male and female are perfectly valid snaggers in that culture.
I may have technically snagged you, but I'm still very happy spelling Hamilton and not on Chenko.
Yeah.
So his new name would be Alice's husband.
I do regret giving up my signature though, because I changed first anniversary paper. So I gave him a Darth Vader Yoda sketch with the new signature on it.
Yeah.
And it takes me forever to sign, whereas the other one was literally AO.
Yeah.
So
And the
getting
bank
back
and
to
I
the
argued
game.
about it.
Anyway, yes.
Sorry, I'm distractible today. Please smack me on the hand with a ruler.
That's what I did. Saying, getting back to the game.
Yep.
You spent the night at what was the Manticle's lair.
Yep.
After taking food back to the eagle, getting the eagle inside, and then heading towards the city, so you can head south from the city through the Griffin Fields to the White Tower, as your plan from last session.
Yep.
Of course, you can change that plan based on what happens to you.
I'm happy to stick with those plans for now.
Well, very few plans survive random encounters.
Are we?
Well, yes, which is why we should have like 3 at a time.
Is it a long trek towards these Griffin Fields and the city?
Well, we have to go city first, then.
Well, so far it seems to have taken us a few days to go round effectively each loop, each season, each quarter. So
Which we've done half of it. We went from winter to autumn, and so now we're getting back to the city to head into summer, presumably.
Yeah.
So it's about a day trip into the city.
Okay.
And let's see if something crops up on your trip. I have my random table somewhere. It's nice how when you go, I know I've got this, where did they put that?
It's funny. I was like, it's in here in the book. Where did they put it this time?
There's only 12 books there to choose from.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
they're different every time, so yeah.
And every adventure has their own thing. So this random table is actually in the middle of the book, and then references the front of the book, and the locations are in the back of the book.
Okay, interesting setup, but okay.
But it's knowing where they all are is the trick.
That's the key.
Yeah, this is what an index is for, which is one of the reasons why I really, really hate particularly good size, but any game book that does not have an index. It's one of the things that pissed me off about World of Darkness.
Yep.
So very long.
Well, not World of Darkness for me, but it is one of my few petty.
One of the advantages I have of rolling percentile dice is when I roll them without actually having one set as the 10 and 1 as a thing, I can swap them around depending on what encounters I roll up. So I get a choice of 2 to throw at you as a choice of a GM saying which one is more appropriate for the characters.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm going to roll so other people can see it,
okay. Yep. It just looked a bit awkward.
it is always awkward,
Is
but
that like 20, 38, 38, 38?
Yeah, 3 and an 8, so either 83 or 38.
Yeah.
Depending on how much he likes us today.
I made you coffee earlier.
so
It just means he's more alert to punish me, really.
So that means I can do a more complicated encounter. Okay then.
yeah, no, so the question is, it's either 83 goblins or 38 dragons.
Or griffins, I think no, we're not in the Griffin Fields, so yeah.
Probably maybe werewolves or dire-wolves of some kind.
Yeah.
Or other such animals.
That sounds nice. We'll do that.
Well, why do we listen to what I
Have
say?
you not learnt yet? Haven't you been in the games long enough to know how dangerous this is?
You would think.
Please stop feeding the GM.
It's okay, I've been married to him for like 21 years and I still...
I avoided suggesting the very, very friendly acid dragon for a reason.
Oh, Paul, please shut up. I didn't mean that in a bad way, but
So I can make everyone's wish come true.
No.
One of each. Just kidding.
Okay, so you hear some howls on the path you're heading down.
I gather this is direwolves?
You don't know?
making note of... Oh, okay, so...
Do we recognise who might be making such howls?
Give me a sense motive roll.
Is that like a D20?
Would that
It's a
be
D20.
perception?
Sense motive is sense motive 5th edition.
I got a 19. I don't know if that's good or not, but I got a 19.
Insight?
Inside.
Roll.
I got an 18.
Too many game systems. I have them all in my head.
Exactly.
Well,
Which one's
when you got
inside?
one that does impression of
Inside,
three,
sorry.
or
Is that
different
perception?
names of it.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
26.
You got a 26?
Yeah,
You roll
19
quite
plus
well.
7, because I think my biggest thing is perception.
Yeah.
We made me roll that way?
Well, we said it was insight, not perception.
Oh, okay, then that's wrong.
So it's
Still going to be fairly high, hopefully.
I was gonna say it's at least
where do I
that.
find the inside? It doesn't say
If you don't
inside.
have it written down under your skills, it's just wisdom.
It's, yeah.
Survival, stealth, history, perception. What did you say?
Inside. So
Inside.
probably would come after history if it was there, presumably.
So, okay, I can also do the other thing is and bring up the Bombardier updated one.
Yeah, no, I don't have insight. I just have perception. So you said intelligence.
Wisdom.
Oh.
Here we have...
Hello? Oh, can you hear me?
We can?
We can.
We can also hear the other side of the phone call, Paul.
Hold on a sec.
I think he's muted.
Yep, that's why I thought I'd mention it for him. Okay, so
thought it was someone
you
else joining the
have
game. My
plus
brain's
1
struggling.
to your roll,
Oh, so unnatural 20.
unnatural 20, which is not too bad.
No.
Still a good roll.
And how did Jeremy go?
23.
Okay.
But I would like to ask you maybe after game, maybe go over this with me again so I don't spend so long trying to figure out what I'm doing. I will write
I will
a
send
note.
you a link to your phone so you can look
Okay.
it up directly.
Oh, okay. That would be probably a little bit more.
Because that is
helpful.
the updated character with all the extra stuff.
Is that through the chat?
It's through
yeah,
chat.
Here we go. Thank you.
That's okay. That's why I haven't worked on it for a little while because I haven't been able to print it.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
that's okay.
Okay, so between you all, you do recognize that there's sound of wolves, but specifically the tribesman with no name and El Ankover.
Just call me Duke.
Still funny.
He likes to pay me out. He was calling me Duck one of the other games.
Duck is funny too.
Well, when you pick a pun name, the pun gets used a lot.
Yep.
Okay,
Fair
so,
enough.
You do recognize that it sounds like the patrol you came across earlier.
The patrol.
Yeah.
Which patrol?
As in the one that we tried to gain the attention of somewhat with from the top of our tower.
The-
Yes.
But
Oh.
they passed us message
Oh,
away.
way back there.
Let's
okay.
specify.
I
These
remember
are the ones that the tribesmen shot at with arrows, and they're like, "Message for you, sir," and they just did not understand that they were being attacked.
Yep.
So if we, okay.
Just a quick question. Did you say we hear a howl in the distance?
Yep.
And can we tell, even as we recognise them as being a patrol we've encountered earlier, exactly what distance or roughly the
A couple
distance?
of miles to the north.
Okay,
on
so
the
they're
road
not
you're walking
right on our tails, but they're not.
You're going towards them, and
Yeah.
they're coming towards you.
Okay, so we may want to run in the other direction at this point. Maybe.
Well, I mean, as we hear the house, I don't recognize it as the party.
I would.
I would ask the tribesman, or I would ask the tribesman who is our usual scout. Like, do we? I hear howls. Do we recognize this?
I would also refer to you and go, is that the patrol we came across?
I would certainly suggest that again it is a group that would contain the werewolves that are immune to my arrows and other large wolves, and I have a vague thought there was something else amongst them in past life. What was that?
I ask.
Oh, a secret.
Well, if he's available currently, if his tower can only be done up once a day or whenever he wants.
Did we actually sleep in the tower last night though?
We didn't.
Because we were in
Yeah.
shelter, so we haven't put it up in the last day.
So is it a day or is it 24 hours?
Generally,
That's
it's going to wait till after a long rest to re-put it back up again.
Would have our rest our
Yes.
overnight towers.
Yeah, so which is why it's every second night sort of.
I will panic a little bit
Okay.
less.
Because I'm suggesting we put up the tower, and then if they get closer to us, we send a quote-unquote message at them, maybe perhaps with a message on it, and turn them away.
Yeah, I'd say try to go for the friendly bit right now
Yeah.
because we are
No,
looking
but
for
they-
information in this area. But yeah,
Yeah, but no,
I like the caution in getting in
they
the
may
tower
not
first.
be entirely friendly because they have said that they work with the bad guy.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So if
Do they know?
so far they don't know that we're here. They just know that there was a random tower at one point and there was weird messages. If they see the same weird tower with same messages, they'll be like, oh, that's just that. Instead of being like, there's 4 people here that we don't know.
Yeah.
That's my thought process.
It's a good one.
Or we could go off the path a little way, go into hiding and watch and see what they do as we walk past.
We could do that as well, but I would assume that they could probably sniff us out.
Yeah, I'd say what chances do we have of hiding our scent from? Did you say dire wolves or wolves?
Wolves and wolves.
No idea is a great hunter. He knows about this stuff. He can work something out.
Well, could we put up the tower somewhere not exactly in sight, and then some of us be in the tower to watch over the people who aren't in the tower? I put my hand up for being in the tower. I don't really want to be a direwolf snack right now. In fact, I might not even count as hors d'oeuvres.
That if we can quickly find a place a blind in the trees.
Yeah.
Or set up a blind in the trees quickly somewhere.
Yeah.
But I will leave that up to our tribesman who has
more experience.
experience at this.
Just confirming, we're currently in winter, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes.
So in fact, so what is the trees and terrain like around either side of the road?
Are they
Okay.
evergreen?
Obviously, it also means to me that we've generally stuck to the road simply because it was generally easier travel, and noting that animals didn't go over the road. But yeah, I'm thinking that we wouldn't really be able to put the tower up anywhere even vaguely close to the road because the trees are probably a bit bare.
Well, technically, you're in autumn. Actually, you left winter.
Oh, autumn, okay, yes.
So
Thanks.
it would be you'd have a lot of trees that flower and germinate in autumn in this area, in the fall. So it's basically a perpetual fall.
Yeah, that's fine. So it means, yes, there is going to be potential cover available for both hiding and, depending on how tall the trees are, you might be able to put the tower back far enough that it wouldn't necessarily be obvious. Although, one thing, if they did spot the tower and it wasn't on the road, it was one of the discussions that we overheard as they went past last time, was that they assumed the tower was something else that had been put up by their forces,
Yeah.
and they probably wouldn't expect the towers going up too far away from the road. So
Yes, because they've got their own expectations on how it's going to be used.
And the trees are in the hundreds of feet tall side of things because
Good and tall.
That was from my first session, although I was sick. The session the actual encounter did. So.
So it means that the tower's only about 30 feet tall, so obviously the tower could be
Hidden.
visible above the tops of the trees. There might even be enough room underneath the canopy of the trees.
Yeah.
Put it up.
well, no matter where you put it, you'll be under the canopy of the trees because most of this forest has very few clearings. The only places you've found clearings have been on mountaintops or areas where the trees have died.
Yeah.
And so certainly, yes, if we did put the tower up into the forest area, then obviously there's going to be significant damage done to trees.
So
Of which these are hundreds of feet tall and very, very wide, akin
I'm not saying they'll
to
die, but
redwoods.
there's damage.
there's not a lot of underbrush because there's
Yeah.
not a lot of natural light coming down.
Yeah.
But there is that you can pretty much stick the tower up next to a tree without affecting the tree at all because
Yeah.
That
the
would be
trees are
my
so big.
preference, considering
Yeah.
our whole point of being here is to save the tree of life.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, but yeah, deep woodland. The ground is pretty clear except around the edges where the sun can get in.
Yep, it's the edges of the forest, which is why everyone thinks the forest is so thick. Is
Yeah,
the thickest because
exactly.
that's where the light is.
Get in underneath and you can run.
But it also then means that, particularly since we're in autumn, there's plenty of leaves on the ground that you can hide under that I'm confident that we can get a good hide spot if that was the decision?
I would prefer to be like in a tree or in the tower. I would have better chances of defending us, I think. So
Yeah.
if we are going to have some people in a blind and some people either up high, I'd like to be one of the up high people.
And no matter where you are, they could use the trees to drop down on you.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Well,
perspective on things.
they're hundreds of feet taller than the tower.
Yes. Yeah.
And falling won't affect these creatures.
Because
Are they
they're-
good climbers?
No, technically they are because they have claws.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
but it's more their
If they're not taking damage from
Stature.
arrows, they're not going to take damage from falling.
yeah.
Okay. Do we know if they
So-
take damage from bombs?
Potentially, because energy is generally different.
Okay. Alright.
Well,
Yeah.
certainly, we've dealt with werewolves before,
Mm.
and note the fact that, yes,
I would
the
still
time when
suggest
all
if,
outposts, not surprising didn't work, but
if we're putting up
makes
the
the
tower.
weapon
Sorry.
effects good.
Jeremy was saying magical weapons and effects will harm them, which
Yeah.
are energy effects, but non-magical effects such as piercing, slashing, or bludgeoning weapons
Won't affect them.
won't have any effect on them.
I'd still like to be in the top of my tower so I can throw bombs potentially down or up. But if they don't realise that I'm up and they come from below, I've got a slight advantage.
I'll say as long as Luella feels comfortable using the tower for the session, my vote is for the tower.
Yeah. My vote
Keeping
is
in mind that takes it away as a potential
Rest place.
rest place later
Yeah.
on.
I could probably climb a tree. I'm small enough.
Well, you also know they don't approach the city. They can't reach the city itself
Oh, okay.
from
Yeah.
the previous city.
Oh, I guess with my 18, was I able to tell which direction the howls were
Yeah.
coming from?
They're coming from between you and the city.
Between
Yeah.
us and the city. Okay. But they can't get into the city because something. Yes.
So we might try to get around that?
We could? Question mark?
Though if they're following the road, they'll come across your scent.
Yeah. So like they'll find our scent if they, like as they're heading this way.
Is the tribesman any good at hiding scents?
And he figures that he's got the skills, that means that he figures that we won't be tracked.
Okay.
Ooh,
Whether or not you believe him, that's a question, that's
another idea. We use the tribesman's skills to walk through the forest without getting tracked, while also leaving a stink bomb here,
Yeah.
so that all of a sudden they just come across stink and then our
I'm
trail,
very good at stink bombs.
and they can't follow us. They'll think
Yeah.
our trail maybe starts here or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea.
Potentially.
And that saves us having to put the tower up.
True.
And then
Yeah.
if Jeremy wants to be in a hide to kind of keep an eye on them,
Well, we'll circle around and continue walking
so
carefully
just try
through
to
the
avoid them
underbrush.
altogether.
That is what I would prefer.
I'm
Fair
thinking
enough.
that there's no reason to actually interact with them anyway if we can
Yep.
avoid it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I will prepare a stink bomb. I've probably got some already on me, knowing me.
Because we did have a long rest, so you would have had.
Yeah, I
time
do a
to
lot
replenish.
of tinkering and repairing of my bombs during rest periods. So where would I look up bomb creation on my...
Well, you have alchemical grenades in the bonus action.
Yeah.
So that you think you're pretty well mixing them, throwing them on the fly.
And technical chemistry.
Would I use technical chemistry for this one since I would have pre-prepared some?
You can't. The technical chemistry is
Can't
not
be
pre-prepared.
pre-prepared? Okay.
Yeah. it's
You
just
make it,
in
and
point.
it's used the
Okay.
moment you make it.
Okay.
Otherwise, it goes off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will...
It's to stop a player from suddenly making all these resources that they sell,
Yeah.
which is the trade-off between having an artificer as a character and an artificer as a moneymaker.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
Because
Yep.
if you can just make all these things while you're adventuring, you can
Okay.
make more money by selling these items than you could using them.
I might just be a
It's just-
extreme junkie. But
Yes,
no, I'm not
it-
disagreeing
it's
with you.
It's the way they balance the rules.
Yeah,
out.
no, I'm good with that. I just trying to find this on this because there's so many things on here.
It's at the very bottom of the example build is where you need to go to.
So, past weapons mastery
Yeah.
and secret crafts.
Go to yeah.
Then it goes to
Character
advancing every
advancement.
level.
Yep. So example
What level?
build.
Again? That's
You are
level
level
1.
8.
Shit,
Yes.
there's a long way to go.
You're almost there.
6?
So after 8, there will be example build. That's the one you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically the entire character in one section.
Okay. Here we
All the
go.
updates.
Oh, you spelled my name right. Yay.
I'll do it from here.
Right, so I'm under the example build now. Is that under abilities?
So if you go under abilities,
Yep.
you'll have actions, bonus actions, reactions, rest, infusions. So what you're looking for is under bonus actions. You've got
Actions,
both
yep.
alchemical grenades and technical
Here we go,
chemistry.
finally.
So while you're looking that up, so Jeremy, what did you want to do with the rest of the group while Ariadne is reading her abilities?
Well, okay, if the party is happy that we basically want to get off the road to allow them to go past, then happy to go down that plan.
Does the tribesman have the ability to pass without trace?
Not specifically, no, okay. That's,
I was gonna
he's got
say
good survival skill and he's worked on the idea he can do it. As I said, he's probably, as a player, he's probably overestimating his abilities, but...
I was gonna say, at
um,
least with the leaf cover, that would at least that would actually take 8% more.
Okay, so Jeremy, I'm
Is that
gonna
right?
have you make
No,
a.
you're not going to join her in there. Sorry. You should use it first.
Oh, good. So Jeremy, I'm gonna have you make a survival check with disadvantage as you're doing it for the entire party.
Yep.
Totally fair.
Because we're happy.
Cute puppy in the background.
Just quickly then.
Yep.
So, I am
Disadvantage should make
gonna.
much difference.
I can.
I rolled 9 and 9. So a total of 19. So the idea being, yeah, so we're aiming to move off the path and
I can
the
throw my.
idea is the stick bomb.
Yeah, I can throw it 20 to 60 feet.
So
You'd want to
Well,
have done something before you left
Yeah.
to the thing because if you're within.
That's what I was going to ask. It
that
says I can
distance, you're
throw
close
it at
enough for
20
them
to
to-
60 feet, but do I have the choice to just put it down and like set a timer type deal?
The idea is you basically set it off on the equivalent of pepper or some other sort of spice
Okay.
that covers the trail.
Yeah.
Because you're not wanting to actually have a reaction.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
wanting to have it already been done.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
if you're waiting for a reaction, then you have to be within proximity for them to actually sense you
Yeah.
before you can affect them with it.
That's what my question is. How do I do that?
Basically saying you're using your technical chemistry to make the scent unpalatable.
Yeah. So I just place it then?
Well, you
Or-
set it off.
Set it off, yeah. Okay.
Because technically you want everyone to walk through it as well, because if they then take this bad scent into the underbrush with them,
Well, wouldn't they not want to follow the bad
that's
sense?
the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just do. I'm not visualizing how this works. I thought it was like
Okay.
a bomb or something like that.
Yeah.
Think of
so-
it more like a paste. You throw it in the ground, it covers an area, and then you just walk through it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that
And
works.
it will disguise your scent somewhat. But
Okay.
it's not perfect
Yeah.
because
Hopefully, it's enough.
hopefully it's enough.
Yeah.
And I'll get you to make a skill check,
God, they all the way at the
which
top
is
again.
+6.
D20, I'm presuming. Yep.
Yep.
16,
22.
22. Yep.
So that's not a bad thing to confuse their senses.
Yep. Pretty good.
Considering I will look up how good
I was gonna say now we have to double check how good their senses are. Yeah, this idea is very heavily reliant on the rolls.
Well, hey, that the role can actually be quite amusing because if you have, as a GM, no stake in how it turns out, it means you're not punishing anyone.
Exactly.
The story becomes what the story becomes.
Makes it fun.
Okay, so as you're making your way stealthily through the forest, through crinkling leaves and people who aren't particularly stealthy.
Yep.
You hear what sounds like violent sneezes in the distance.
Well, I guess that's something.
And the howling stops.
Okay. I'm still.
How far away do you think they are?
Probably about half a mile at this stage. But
Wow.
that's quite a long distance for the sound to cover. And so it's just how violent the sneezing is.
I'm glad I'm not there. I do not have the tissue supplies to.
Though
cope with
I'm
that.
sure most of you have your eyes slightly watering at the moment as you've been travelling with some of the scent still on you. You can sort of feel for something that scent is magnified.
I'm going to actually have a proper bath and do some cleansing spells.
Would prestidigitation do it?
Well, you wouldn't want to do so
Using-
until after you got to a safe
Yeah,
spot.
no, but I
we
was just
wanna
asking
wait
generally.
Yeah, we would want to wait until we get into the city, but I believe prestidigitation does
Yeah.
clean according to the rules.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But small parts of you.
Okay.
So you've got to do
Just my eyes would be
multiple
enough.
areas.
It's a square foot. It doesn't take all that long to do the entire person.
Yes.
Yeah, we probably want to do it not quite in the city, maybe
No, once
just
we
a
get into
little
the
bit
city.
out of the
There's a
city.
couple of inns
Because
just
if we go
outside.
into the city smelling that bad, we might put people off that we don't want to put off.
There's nobody in there.
There's no one in the city.
Oh, the city's deserted.
The,
Yeah.
the entire
City's
nation's been deserted.
Okay, well, we'll just put that down to my memory not working
Okay.
and go, sure, that
Yeah.
sounds good.
I'm not certain you actually playing at the time we went through the city. So.
She was actually.
Well, okay, cool. Do we have an indication or any idea as to how far we are from the city at the present time?
You're about half a day, so you could make the rest of the day to get there.
Yep.
Yeah.
It would be arriving there at sunset because you took some time off the path.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, certainly, yeah. The intent would be to continue through the forest somewhat. If we think we can get there by nightfall, staying in the forest the whole way, and the tribesman's confident that he could actually have the mental map as to, yep, the city should be there, even if you can't actually see it because of the trees. Great. If we have to get back to the road, understandable. But yeah, the intent would be to stay off the road for a significant period of time, unless, of course, we start hearing baying and howls getting closer.
Either howls, other leaves crunching.
Well, you do find it easier to get into the city via the roads because each approach to the city that doesn't have a road into it seems to be blocked off.
Yeah, certainly I was expecting to be on
Yeah,
the road
if we
to
could
actually
get
get to the
as
city.
close as possible, then
It's the natural shape of the terrain has made it almost impossible to reach the city without lots of climbing.
right. Yeah.
So the time it would take to climb would be quite easy to be caught by creatures who can move through that without slowing down.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, you reach the city after nightfall, and first time in the city at dark, and you see parts of the city are lit up via luminescence of moss and magic and technology. Which makes you think it's been like this for centuries and untended and still works.
Well, I mean, it was certainly the sort of thing that we saw evidence of the magic and mechanism still working at the centre plant, didn't we? Like,
You
that
did.
was actually, yeah. So,
Are we stopping then?
coming in from the the west of the city, having left to the north to the city. Do we notice any particular change or variation on what we saw in the city on the north side?
It feels.
Other than the fact that at night and it's lit up.
Besides it being lit up and the occasional sets of eyes you see, it seems to be fairly calm. Whereas before you would hear the sounds of animals moving about, you don't hear a lot of animals moving about here.
So it's not quite deserted because we can see eyes of things, but it's definitely not populated by.
It's not inhabited by people.
Not inhabited by humanoids.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we'll certainly aim to get back towards the centre of the city, where I seem to recall that not even the animals tended to approach the plinth in the centre.
Yeah. I'm wondering, would it be worth leaving the keys in there, or do you think we have to hold on to all of them until
I
we
was
have
about
them?
to ask the party the same question. The
Okay.
idea of the,
Great minds think alike. Okay.
Are we familiar enough in the area to know if there's any appropriate place to hide it that's not straight out in the open, or?
There are lots of buildings, so
Yeah,
it's a big sprawling city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, it's a question if you put the key into the keyhole, does it then lock into place, or
yeah.
can it be removed?
Yeah, that would be, because if it fits in and locks into place, well, that seems much safer than, say, hiding it in a room.
Yeah.
I would be more comfortable leaving them in the case that it stays in its lock.
Yeah, if it stays in locks, I would be fine keeping them here. If they don't, I would keep them with us.
Yeah, I think keep them with us.
well, when we get to the centre pedestal, does it look like because we're talking effectively coins, aren't we, rather than
You are.
keys?
Yeah.
Do the impressions on the plinth effectively look the same as sort of the impression that would have been on the Racania's dragon head in the statue type stuff, that basically it didn't necessarily seem to, it stayed there, but wouldn't necessarily be locked in?
You're not sure. You haven't really dealt with this type of magic.
No, I'm looking at it purely from a physical appearance. From the physical appearance, it shouldn't stay locked, should it?
From a physical appearance, it shouldn't. And what was that, Paul?
I think he's doing it from a rogue's point of view.
Exactly.
Yeah, from a physical perspective, they shouldn't stay locked.
Yeah. But they would stay in place if it was put in there.
They would stay in place, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but someone could walk up and walk away with it. So
Yes.
But they've obviously been stolen, so it means that even if they were to stay in place, they can be taken out of place again.
No, but they were never stolen
Oh, okay.
because the reason we're looking for these keys is that these keys were a backup system to get to the Tree of Life.
Oh, okay.
They're a
Tree Keeper was always able to get there without worrying about the keys.
Yeah.
So this was sort of the idea of spreading out 12 keys with 12 different guardians
Yeah.
was the very last alternative backup option if something happened and you couldn't get the tree keeper for some reason couldn't get there.
Well, I guess we might try testing it with one.
Yeah.
If we want to see if they stay and they don't
I would
move.
say, as the resident elf, I would leave it up to Luel.
Lulu, yeah, I would probably seek Lul's advice on this.
Yeah, I should have at least a reasonably good knowledge of how it interacts with itself.
So what does Luel wish to do?
What is it you guys were thinking of?
So option one
Yeah.
is testing out one of the keys and see if they lock into place. If they lock into place, leaving them here instead of carrying them, for the chance of, like, if we're caught, we don't want other people to have it. But if they don't lock in place, then we keep the keys with us. So if Royal feels comfortable enough, could we test one of the keys to see if it locks in place?
I'd actually prefer a third option.
Okay.
The idea of, because the concern, and this is something that Plural may well actually have the definite knowledge on, or there might be indications actually on the plinth itself, is the idea of,
That's a good.
should the keys actually be inserted and then only one at a time and then left in there or things like that, or whether it is something that they should all be done
At the same
effectively
time.
Yeah.
There were
And
no
my
instructions
concern is
either
that
way.
Yeah.
that would be a more effective security measure if they've effectively all got to be put in within a few minutes of each other. Then it becomes more secure. So I would actually go for the fact that, or rely on the fact that seemingly nothing comes into the city, at least not this far, whether they be the good guys, the bad guys. Well, there's seemingly no good guys so far, but the bad guys or animals and other creatures.
Well, I'd
So
be
therefore,
worried because
I'm
we
just
can come
hiding.
into the centre. So if we
Yes,
can
but
come
we
in the
come from-
centre,
we
could
come from
other people?
external. We arrive at the centre.
Do we know for sure that like the bad guys that we're hunting down to these things can't come into the centre?
It appears that at least the werewolves aren't able to enter into the city. And it
But what
looks like
about,
the
like, the-
animals can't enter the center, but there's no definite
Flat-footed
reasoning to
knights.
think that the bad guy can't come in.
Yeah, because I'd be absolutely
Yeah.
against leaving them behind if we can't be absolutely certain that they can't be
Yeah.
removed by another
I,
Exactly.
humanoid.
I would far prefer to be carrying them. There's
Yeah.
too much chance of circumventing whatever binding
Well,
is involved.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
too
but-
big a thing we're trying to do
Yeah.
to mess it up now.
Yeah, but my argument would be that from what we've seen, the city, particularly this area, the centre of the city, nothing had come here at all except until we arrived through the gateway, not from the outside of the city, for seemingly thousands of years maybe.
But what if
And-
someone else comes through the gateway?
So the point being, so his concern would be, so seemingly Moorcroft, the apparent bad guy that we've actually got to try and meet officially,
Yes.
is presumably here already and has been for some time. So therefore, he's one of the people that can't get into the city. So my perspective would be, if we hide the keys nearby, it then means that when we try and go and see this Moorcroft guy, we're not giving him 3 keys.
Yeah, I get.
Also, we've gotten a description of Moorcroft taking the Hydra. No, yes, the Hydra
Yeah,
key.
the Hydra key.
So he is collecting keys as well. Whether
Well-
to keep other people away from it or he's trying to have the same goal, hard to say. But again, this is a thing where I don't think we can assume he's not allowed into the city or can't get into the city. I think it's a safer assumption to think that he can.
Yeah,
And like I say, and I'm happy to accept the possibility,
Yeah.
which is why I'm not saying leave the keys sitting in the platform, whether or not they can be moved or not, but pick a random spot, that a random building.
I guess the question is how did he figure out where the Hydra key was? Like, does he have some ability to magically trace them? And if so, hiding them nearby would be a very bad idea.
Well, the Hydra was
Well-
a rather large beast.
Yeah.
I was going to say, he probably found the Hydra key the same way we found them. Walking along the road, he came across the
Yeah.
beast. In this case, it was a very large Hydra that
Yeah.
he killed and then took the key.
Yeah. There is the thing that if we know that he can sense them, then we can block them because there's only so many ways to detect something.
Yeah.
And for example, putting them all in my bag of holding would do the job.
Yes, but if we're captured,
The bag of holding will try and eat him.
Will it? How do we know that?
Because it's actually a bag of. It's the creature behind a bag of devouring that's presently not actually consuming my stuff because it likes me.
Okay, alright, yep.
That doesn't certainly sound entirely promising if it decides that it doesn't like elves or something.
The
it's
problem
not
is
gonna
if
eat
it
no
decides
soul.
it likes Moorcroft. But I think we should probably...
Yeah, I think if Luell's able to hold the keys in his bag of holding, that's probably the safest
That's
option.
the risk I'm most comfortable, for lack of better description, with.
Yeah, because like there's every plan does have a risk, but that's probably the safest
The lowest risk.
option.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad that we talked our way into our own puzzle of our own making.
Yeah.
So you put the keys in your bag, Paul? Because you haven't put them in there yet.
I'll put them in their own bag and then I'll put them in my bag of holding.
Okay. You were not surprised when the bag goes in because you do recognize that the keys are artifacts and wouldn't make it into a normal bag of holding.
Yes,
Yeah, that
that's
was
why
what I was
I
gonna
thought
say.
doing this.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to touch it if it was a normal bag of holding.
Because you told me that nothing magical can go into a bag of holding.
I know it's
normally.
nothing from the nothing with its own extra dimensional space can go into a bag of holding, and artifacts generally can't leave the plane of existence.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's effectively, they're in the same category.
But there are some exceptions to the rules.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we wish to, I guess, rest here for the night and then head south into summer, or what do you guys wish to do?
Didn't we want to head to the Griffin Fields?
So that would be
Let's go south.
going south after we leave the city.
You were going to head south after resting
Yeah.
in the city.
Yep.
South.
I would say that I'd be happy doing that.
Cool. So we'll walk south, find a building to take shelter in until sunrise, having a rest. Blah 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 blah.
Okay. So I believe Paul Llewell was going to find them a place to reside.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you need
Being
coffee?
approximately local and
I
diplomat.
got to set a stream in the door.
Basically being nice. To pick somewhere good for what we need, perception or insight.
I'll start with perception.
Yeah. Something to suit what we're doing and who we are. And including avoiding places that would be problematic for me to go, considering who I am at the moment. 16.
Okay, heading south from the city centre. You come across what you identify to be Ilsundal's manor house, where he lived when he was king.
Is there a way for us to actually stay there?
The door's slightly ajar.
And yeah, I thought it was
Okay.
like a moon.
That is of distinct interest. Yes, I will go. I will approach.
You pick a random building and choose the largest, the most extravagant.
It sounds
I
like
pick a
Luell,
random
to be
building
honest.
and then walk
It's
towards
not the largest or
towards
most
the manor.
extravagant. It's actually in the area of houses you're looking at. It's probably the most modest of the houses.
Okay.
That fits.
I was gonna say it sounds like elves actually.
And even though it's the most modest, it has a place of prominence.
Makes sense.
Yeah, well, it'd be one of the oldest houses here too. I'm just okay. I'm still approaching. I'm going to look into the gap and knock on the door.
So as you approach the door opens up.
Who do I see inside?
No one.
Okay, that's definitely an invitation.
But you do see lights come on inside the house.
Oh. Okay.
Well-
I'll wait for the others to come over.
Yeah.
Step inside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait.
Say
Outside?
thank you with great sincerity.
Mm-hmm.
As the others approach behind me.
Okay.
I follow what?
I will find a comfortable place in, like, if we're assuming we walk in, foyer and then some sort of sitting room to the
As
side.
you're walking to the foyer, you run into a barrier.
Oh, okay.
Whoops.
Seeing Llewellyn in front of you inside the house.
Well, yeah.
So, elves only, maybe?
House.
Anyway, I
Our
said
companions
thank you.
join me.
Oh, give me an insight roll.
That's rather better than the other one. 25.
Okay, you do remember stories where elves basically treated humans and other creatures like equivalent of vampires.
You have to invite each
We
one of
have
us
to be-
in.
Yes.
Right, which means I have to make friends with the house and persuade it to let you in.
So the house has to accept us in.
Well,
I'm
Lord.
hoping so. If it's just a solid block, then you're SOL, but
What's SOL?
should have luck.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
The tribesman's happy to find a spot just beside the front wall / bench and lie down on the grass or something.
Yes, but the others won't.
Despite saying
I
thank you,
will-
I gather I can't get through. But I can sit in the foyer.
No, you can't get to
no,
the
you
foyer.
can't get in.
Oh, okay. Well then,
You're
I
on the
will
front
probably
side.
sit
I'm
outside
ju-
with the tribesmen.
No, I'm just waiting for Luel to do something.
Yes, I am going to. Okay. It's a broad assumption that this house, given who owned it, is probably sentient or close to it. So I'm going to ask the house to let my friends in. I'll be polite and
I feel like you have to do that for everything we encounter in this world, like the rock and everything. Like,
well,
they're human, but they're okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll make it a
in
history
my
roll
case,
for you,
it's
Paul.
often valid.
History roll?
For Paul.
Yep. My magic stuffs. 21.
You feel you were slightly off on it. The house wouldn't have any sentience at all, but your holy symbol would probably have granted you access and it to accept you.
Ah. So it's not who I am, it's what this is.
And basically, unless invited, the others wouldn't be allowed in.
Right.
By Lul, though? Just try inviting one of us in.
Yeah.
I'll invite whoever's closest.
Lani at the moment.
Our friendly gnome. Because she's right there. I'll do so while holding the holy symbol.
Did you refer to Lani as the gnome or?
Oh,
No.
I technically still at the doorway.
Okay.
I was gonna say both Lonnie and Duke are right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay. Whichever one of you is directly in front of my eyeballs, I will invite you directly by name
Well,
into the house.
considering you're so tall, I'm probably at your kneecap.
I was gonna say without
That's
assuming.
So Lani then.
true.
It would be Lonnie because she would be in your eyesight.
Yes.
Although noting that when talking to the rock, the gnome was more acceptable than the humans.
Yeah,
Yep.
Well, it would be a test of the place.
yeah.
So,
Yes.
Llewellyn invites you in.
I walk carefully through.
Okay, your hair stands up as you walk through the doorway.
But I get in? Okay, cool.
I will invite the
I-
others in the same way.
I will walk through and thank the house as I saw Lil
I was gonna say, like, as I walk in, I'll thank the house. Knowing
Yeah.
nothing about this type of magic, I'm just like, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Once I've done the last invite, I'll say the house itself is intelligent. I assume that I was wrong. However, the fact that I'm wearing this holy symbol means that I'm allowed to walk in the door without hindrance. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. Something made by the hand of Elsendal in Elsendal's house. And that, by the way, is what this is.
Is this house furnished at all?
It does have furnishings throughout it.
Okay.
I will look around carefully and not touch anything.
You'll also know
Same
that when Ilsundal ascended to become a Fey Lord, his first cleric would have, and High Cleric from then on, would have used this house as their home.
Okay. Looking around, is it like dusty, dilapidated furniture? Is it nice furniture?
It is plain but clean.
Okay.
No dust, no cobwebs, no...
Lonnie will find a nice couch, settee, lounge
Comfortable
chair
spot to-
of some kind, and go lay down.
Closest comfortable thing you have is a wooden bench.
Done.
So sit on your bedroll.
So, Jeremy, what were you going to say there?
I was about to say, the city itself had been effectively clean, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It had been clean, but it was also overrun.
That's right, yeah, it was overrun with nature, but not necessarily, age.
I will look around with Lua without touching anything, but just curious, but respectfully so.
Yes. So you're saying this place is big without being huge, and everyone else's made since is basically bigger than it.
It's a single-story building designed with ease of access and simple furnishings.
Okay, so it actually, to me, that actually looks like a retirement house or a holiday home. Could be either.
Well, if it was the place where
it's not even a mansion.
I think Martin said that it's the place where is Sundal's clerics would stay. So
like think like more like a chancellery
it's a holy
or what's the other word I was thinking of? But like think like a priest, like a church
priest's
provided
house.
priest house.
It's the equivalent of the Pope's residence.
Yeah.
It's a residence for an ascetic priest.
And as the equivalent of the Pope, they don't really have need of anything. It's provided to them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how big is this place? How many rooms?
It would have probably about 20 or 30 odd rooms.
Jesus, that's big for a
place. It's a mansion, but it's all one level.
Yeah.
And
Whereas all the ones close to
some
it
of
are
that's
larger.
going to be
That's huge.
servant accommodation.
Is there any
Well,
artwork of any sort, or any sort of other like holy type things that might be there to represent?
There are pedestals and gaps on the walls, empty bookshelves.
So it's been emptied out a long time ago.
You would think that they took what they could and left
Okay.
when the elves
Well,
exited.
That's right, because they say they didn't leave. They didn't leave here entirely voluntarily, but they did leave.
Entirely.
That's right. They had time to gather their belongings before they were leaving.
Yeah.
So.
But not enough
They
that
weren't
they could
fleeing,
take
they were leaving.
the furniture and large things.
Yeah.
So they took the things of importance that were easy to carry.
Okay.
Things
I
that can
will
be
find
put
somewhere to rest
easily.
then. Probably somewhere near Lani. If there's not an adjacent bench, then I'll just use my bedroll on the floor.
There are many benches here.
Use
Is
my
the
bedroll on a
bedroll
bench.
Is the bedroll on a bench?
You can easily fit a bedroll on a bench.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a gnome. I can easily fit a bedroll just about anywhere.
I'm sure Louis's having
you can-
quite the
Yes.
fan experience currently.
You can sleep in
yeah.
a bread box.
He's basically looking at places that were drawn from visions and stories.
Yeah.
And most of the stuff he had pictures and drawings of had more than what was here
Yeah.
in it, because this is where all the portable stuff has been stripped away and taken.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there'll be places where you would have expected to have seen suits of armor from Ilsendal's time, as well as relics from stories that they said the elves were to stop and prevent.
Yeah. As a point for visuals, by the way, this place has been designed by and for people who are 7.5 feet tall, or 7 feet tall, 2.5 meters.
So it's cathedral-like to me.
Yes.
Roomy.
Yes. It looks like running around an MMO.
Where everything's so large.
Yeah.
It's like going around on your knees in a house.
Yeah.
Or for a 6-year-old.
I kind of can relate to that, but that's only because sometimes I have to crawl to the bathroom.
And you realise that there'll be no
Tiles
actual
suck.
artwork on the walls, because they would have hung artwork here, because that way they can change it.
Yeah. It would be, if an actual priest were coming into residence, they would furnish the place and then empty it back out again when he left.
Okay, Paul, I will give you a insight check now that you're looking around the house.
Yeah. What's up, Cash? Oh, nice. 24.
Okay, you realise that there is, where there's a wall, you remember there being a door in some of the drawings.
Oh, okay. I will not check them out directly myself. I will go and get the tribesmen to investigate those particular walls for me. Or with me.
Yeah. Certainly have to have a look around, but aren't we mainly just stopping here to sleep for the night and get on the way again?
But if there is something inconsistent between this place and drawings of it, yeah. Hold on a sec.
I'm happy to have a look at a blank wall or something and see if there's evidence, or knock on the wall, see if it indicates there's something behind it. So,
Okay, I will give you a perception check with advantage.
27.
Okay, you find a spot on the wall that sends sparks up you and flings you against the far wall,
That'll get my attention.
dealing 12 points of electricity damage to you,
Ooh.
lightning damage.
Might be a bit more than that. Penalty versus lightning thunder. Let's double check what that means. But yes, anyway.
That would be your proficiency bonus on top of it.
Yep. So 15 then.
Yeah.
Yeah. This house doesn't like me. How big was the front yard?
It was fairly big.
I suspect we know where the tribesman's going to sleep.
Just checking to see with Paul what he does, because
So are these secret doors, essentially?
in a manner of speaking, yes. But like all things, some secrets can only be found by some characters.
Yep.
Or discovered by other characters with bad things happening.
Yes. The way that certain characters can find them may be positive or negative.
I was going to say,
Sappy doors.
the tribesman yells at Luel to find his own secret doors.
So, Paul, you see Llewell touch it. You see the tribesman touch a bit of wall and get flung across the room with lightning.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
At least he apologised.
Hmm.
What does Llewell do?
I'll heal him if necessary. But,
Yeah. Well, he did clearly take damage, and he was basically saying, "Yep, the house don't like me."
yeah. Well, okay. You're going to get a stream of green sparkles and petals.
I just got sparkles.
And he's still
Someone
seeing
else
These
Yeah.
ones don't hurt.
Nice sparkles.
These are nice sparkles. These are the good sparkles. These are the Band-Aid sparkles.
So what's the effect?
It's a healing effect. How many?
Yeah,
points-
okay. How much?
Or how much did you take?
I had 15 damage.
Plus,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Sorry.
That's really painful.
You tell me about it.
Yeah. Yeah. In that
I've got the
case,
extra 3.
you'll get. That actually comes to 15 points worth of healing.
Nice.
That works
Yes.
well. So does Llewell touch the spot that Prayer Deer did?
I will look at it first, and then I will touch the spot.
Okay. As you touch the spot, you see parts of the wall shift and move.
Mm-hmm.
You see a doorway there, right where you remember seeing one.
What's on the other side of the doorway?
Steps going down.
Okay. I'm going to go down and have a look. Have a look at the others to see if they want to follow me and go down.
Would
Okay.
the chief priest of Luthundul potentially double hat as a tree keeper? This is the tribesman asking.
Good question.
Okay.
Probably
Please answer.
from a
I have no
GM,
idea.
GM's perspective, answering for Paul, the tree keeper is generally the most revered position for a priest and can be held by any of the Elven God priests. But
Mhm.
Ilsendal is probably most common because that god created the tree. But
Right.
it doesn't stop the other Elven gods from being tree keepers.
Right. But in the case of an Ilsendal follower, if he's the high priest, he is a tree keeper.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, well, there's a good chance of it.
Because like I say, I'm just thinking, we know the tree keeper had a way of getting to the tree.
This
Okay.
would make things
Yeah.
very convenient, wouldn't it?
And most of you see Llewell step into a wall.
Oh, so we don't see it open. We don't see the stairwell or anything behind it.
You don't see the stairwell behind you.
Okay.
I'd be like,
In that case, then
That's weird.
I'm less likely to be asking that question about the idea of.
Does Luo tell us?
I think it
Before
went
he
to the wall, probably assumed
disappears
the tree.
behind an invisible door?
Okay. If you try and follow me and you can't get through that doorway,
Yeah, no,
I'm going to invite you
I
the same way as I did at the front door.
Okay, you invite them, nothing seems to change, they can't get through.
Okay.
you're on your own.
I lay
Yeah,
back
this
down
one
and
might-
wait for somebody to yell for my attention.
Are you going down on your own then?
I will go down on my own, carefully and with a light on.
Okay. You find yourself in a basement underneath the house. And
Yeah.
you can see there are glowing runes on all the walls. And give me a perception roll as you look around.
17.
17. Okay, you see what appears to be a collection of artifacts and relics that you've never seen their like before. I will give you a history check to see if you can actually recognize their origin.
What type of things are they?
I'll tell you after a history check.
Okay, 19.
19. Okay. You do recognize that most of the relics around here seem to be technological in nature, far more advanced than what the gnomes have.
Right. Similar to what Redrigan has.
Almost identical, you'd say.
Right.
And all of it looking like it's been damaged, used, worn, and basically placed here as almost like a storehouse or shrine. But you think more of from what the elves did in the end is this would probably be the equivalent of a vault for evil things.
Right.
Because one of the teachings of Ilsendal is some knowledge should never be regained. Because Blackmore almost destroyed the world.
Yep.
Blackmore?
Yes.
That's not
The-
the Moorcroft guy.
No,
No.
Blackmore was a
Different guy.
was a country,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
historical country that very few races know existed.
Yep. They had what we would consider perfectly normal technology.
And it destroyed the first elven nation
Yes.
and changed the orbit of the planet and its axis.
But they had technology and they encouraged rampant climate change.
And shooting people with with pistols. And other things.
So you see around you the equivalent of automations, energy, and weapons and technological devices.
Yeah.
Most of them are damaged or partly disassembled.
Yeah. So nothing I can pick up and use. Fair enough. Is there anything in here that's on Redrigan's list of stuff he wants to see?
You would probably
Or
say
stuff he wants to get back?
well, it'd be hard to tell. You'd probably say he'd probably want all of it back, but again, that would be at odds with your god's personal beliefs.
Oh yeah, no. If Redrigan wants it, I'm going to tell him. Look, you ask Olsendal, I'm not going to do it. I'll introduce you.
But it's also, Redrian was specifically looking for changes in the modern
I know he's
situation.
changed the world, but he'd also asked us to look out for certain bits of technology,
Oh, did he? Okay, I
which
missed that one.
which had been part of his old ship.
Yeah.
But that's things like large things like engines. I
And-
remember what the floating city that's got Magitech engines holding it up. They're his spaceship engines.
So you think all these things here were dated from the first Elven realm and were collected when they formed the second Elven realm and basically buried under the first house?
It's not Redrigan's at all. He would like to see them, but only for interest's sake, and not part of what we're trying to do at the moment.
And as a re-update from Paul, from what you heard from Redrian, is the people of Blackmore stole technology from his ship to form their nation. And so the Blackmorean culture is based on Redrian's starship. So their technological advances and power were taken from his people.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the equivalent of Star Trek and why they don't give natives access to their technology as their prime directive.
Yes, because it's really bad for everybody. It's not like the old Prime Directive, which is just cultural issues. So yeah, you don't give primitives the ability to blow themselves up.
Well,
So, okay.
so
This
you're
is
basically in a
of
room
distinct
of
interest.
So you're basically in a room of forbidden technology.
So I will leave what I've seen down here, Um, if there's nothing up here that's of immediate use or can help us, I'll check the walls as well. Then I will go back upstairs and see if I can find one of the other walls, which apparently used to have a door in it.
This is the only one you found that used to have a door in it. That
Yeah,
you remember
okay.
from the artwork.
Yeah.
They only need to cut up one hidden chamber.
Yes. Although one thing that's really useful on a single-story building is to hide things above the attic.
Okay.
Put
You
it
mean on the roof?
No, above the roof. Make sure that you basically put an extra dimensional room up there.
And from what
It's
you
like,
can,
it's like hiding things up trees.
so what you can tell from the runes is it's basically the equivalent of anti-magic, anti-technology, scrying sort of barriers.
Right. So if I needed to talk to people very privately, this would be ideal, but I can't.
You could talk to other elves, probably, but not
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
us.
Or the Ilsendorf followers.
But
Yeah,
also,
that too.
he wouldn't want to bring them down here.
No.
No, because the room itself contains things that are illegal to see.
But hey, you're a warlock.
So-
That's part of your biz.
Pardon?
Being a warlock, you dabble with the impossible and horrendous things of society.
Yes. And things that are blasphemous to deities. Which Blackmore basically is. Here's the thing though. We're trying to help Atruaghin get his shit back together and leave, which would remove a hell of a lot of things and a lot of influence that the gods don't want in the world. So, there's a selling point when we're talking to gods and gods representatives about what we're doing and why.
Did you want
Hi, what we're doing is going to help you a lot.
or something to drink?
Yes. I'm sure most of them would be grateful to have the technology removed, except for the Dwarven and Gnomish gods who would want it examined, incorporated, and expanded upon.
Well, I'd be careful about who I was talking to.
Because there are quite a few gods of technology in the world.
Yes. And if they're particularly interested in what we're doing, then we can tell the other gods about it and say, look, could you keep them off our backs while we get rid of this stuff, will you? Although I personally have a little bit of a problem in that my staff of Mazikeen is pro-technology.
It is. So is Mazikeen.
Yes, well, the Mazikeen is and therefore his staff is. So I'd have to be diplomatic there as well.
But Mazikeen is more magitech, whereas this is more science.
Oh yeah, but if you're doing Magitech, like an artificer is, looking at other technologies is almost always worth looking at for new ideas, even if you're going to do it a different way.
That is true. So, you leave everything as it is and wander back up and tell the others?
I will leave everything there and wander back up and tell people that it's a an Elsendal style private room for putting in things that aren't supposed to be seen or known of. And then stop.
I will,
I'll then try and close the door again.
I will look at the tribesmen and be like, how shocking was that door?
Painful.
I'll say, okay, keep your secrets, Magic Man.
So when you touch that spot, the door seems to disappear with the wall moving back into place.
Yep, I thought so.
Because remember, they say painful, and also even after the pain, inaccessible.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. I'm gonna leave it be and go back to resting on my bench. Be like, I'm gonna chill. This is maybe the one time that I get to chill. I'm gonna chill.
Well, in many ways, this is probably the safest place we've been in forever, and maybe the safest place we'll be in for a long time.
Yep.
Says you.
I said might be.
Well, from your perspective, it is.
Yeah, well, for me it is, and no one else can get in to attack you. Generally,
Except the house.
The house itself is not sentient, so yeah, don't poke things.
So you.
In fact, that was a protection on that one door lock, and you expect secret door locks to have protections. Now, what was that, Martin?
So you would expect that the place would be attack anything that's not an elf if it's going to attack anything.
Yes, that's the thing. If it's not sentient, it's going to be relatively narrow in what it's going to let through.
I don't know if you... I would think it's more automated than sentient is the way to think about
I'm
it.
saying it's not actually sentient. It is magically automated.
Yeah.
Which is why I had to invite you through the front door, rather than the house accepting that you're with me and therefore fine to come in.
Hence why I am not exploring. I don't feel welcome.
Unfortunately, no, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You are by me, but not by
Exactly.
the house's defences.
Okay. So the rest of the night passes uneventfully, even though
Yes.
the light doesn't change.
Yep. Okay.
That's interesting. If I ask the house to turn the lights down, does that work?
It doesn't seem to affect anything.
Okay.
But then again, most elves only need a couple of hours resting.
And
actually
we'll probably sit in the
sleeping.
library to do so anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, since it's... Yeah, they don't necessarily sleep. They
That's
just...
actually a really
Meditate.
good. That's actually a really good
Yeah.
thought. You won't. Yeah. The only beds you'll find in an elven household are for servants and for procreating on.
If that.
Yeah.
So they'd be decorated and brought out once a year or so.
So looking through most of the place
Yeah.
looks to be training rooms, equivalent of libraries, because this house had like 100 or more bookshelves in there.
I was going to say
Yeah.
And
Many lots.
And basically, various places people would pray to the various gods, including some that predate Ilson.
Okay. Ilson did have to pray to someone.
He was not the first god.
No.
But he is the main elven god. So yes, after looking around the rest of the place, you do have an uneventful night, and the lights start to dim as the sun rises.
Okay.
But twice when you can get an early start.
Yes.
Be out of the house.
Well, getting outside and finding some place that sells food, that'll be nice.
Unlike the place that sells food.
Well, we might have to go a few streets over.
You're joking, right?
What?
He's forgotten that he's in an abandoned city. He's enjoying the place so much.
That's true.
And I'm sure it was completely in character too, and the tribesman is just shaking his head.
Exactly, yeah. Not understanding Alvin's humour.
As we, I guess,
Looking at me going typical bloody academic.
if we've left the house and start heading south,
We go.
I will whistle a sailor's tune about something about summer, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can't think of
so
it off the top of the head. Off of the top of my head, I had one earlier, but I completely lost it. Yo ho ho.
so from the information that we got from the rock, we're expecting that we're coming across the Griffin Guardian. It's immediately south of the city.
About a day's travel south.
Yeah.
Well,
2 days actually.
In the sense, normally about a day separated each of them, but
Yeah, it's about a day separated to reach the Griffin Fields.
and then he said that the White Tower was south of that. Is that right?
I believe so.
That is true.
Yeah.
Can
Okay.
you give any other indications as to where things were?
I don't remember. I'm sure it's in my notes. Overlying the paths were moving forward.
Basically, in most cases, it's follow the roads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he didn't give any indication as to what was the westward road or anything like that, did he? He only talked about the south road.
Feel the
Yeah.
actual cut.
Yeah, I was only mentioning the south.
Because most of them don't know that area that well, and that's heading into the summer area.
Yeah.
So as you head south out of the city, it warms up. It's not hot. It's not burning sort of temperatures. It's just warm.
Nice summer. This
Sort
is
of like
Where-
winter was not freezing. It was just
It was
cool.
just nice winter. So
Take
it's
a
nice.
picture.
So summer somewhere not Australia.
Very much.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Basically.
so it's
Maybe an English summer, perhaps?
It's the
Does
place
English
where the
summer
elves
actually get
have
warm?
the equivalent of terraformed with magic to make it not too variable but noticeable enough.
Yeah. Where it's just like, you can definitely tell the theme, but it's not drastic.
It's not
Yeah.
desert conditions.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, Ariadne. It does get warm in England, but 25 is a heat wave.
Yeah, I know. I was
The
talking.
scaling is entirely different.
You also
Last-
get lucky if you
I
get
think-
a non-rainy day.
Summer 2020 to 2021, I was talking to a girl who I know through the disability forums, and she was saying, I know this is going to sound bad to other people, but it hit 22 today and I'm just suffering. And she's from the UK and in the UK, and I'm
Yep.
like, well, it's 25 today, so I do empathise with what's going on, but I'd rather be there than here.
Yeah.
Yes. At 25, if you go above 25, you get a really big spike in deaths of
Yeah,
street people
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because they're dying of heat stroke
yeah.
Yep. And
at
then
27 degrees.
then when we tell them we get it mid-30s up to 40, and they just look at the concept completely blows
There
their
are
mind.
places in SA
Oh,
yeah.
and WA that
It's-
hit 49.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, with
Yeah.
me coming from Arizona,
It's-
average is 45.
Yeah.
So, like,
What
Well,
gets
Arizona's
worse-
right.
it's,
Desert area?
It's all desert. Well, if you're not in the mountains, it's all desert.
Desert, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What
one or the
gets
other.
worse,
Yeah,
the-
tumbleweed
what gets worse,
cactuses.
the 50 degrees in West Australia.
Sounds
Construction
right.
guys are out in that direct sun doing physical work.
Yeah. You can
At 50
acclimatise to
degrees.
it.
That is true. And getting back to the game.
Sorry.
And anywhere else in the world, that would kill you.
This is
And
the
getting back to the
educational
game.
part of the game for the other people who might do it.
Oh, good.
Right, so we're in a
But
nice
anyway.
summery area.
We're in an English summer and a moderately mild one.
Most importantly, from the tribesman's perspective, looking around, is there any evidence of activity, particularly by the patrols or anything like that?
Not to start with, because none of them come within a certain distance of the city.
Yep.
And you already step into the season before that happens.
Yep.
So about
And we're still getting, okay, animals are still not crossing the road,
animals still not crossing the road.
but because we're coming to summer, I'm guessing there's enough foliage on the trees that they can go over the top potentially.
You had that in winter and autumn.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
So the trees, the path is a big open space. It's the smoothest. You could probably take a carriage over it, but you could pretty much take horses through the rest of the forest with little issue, except for the dealing with cliffs and valleys and stuff like that.
Terrain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so about an hour out, you come to another place where the trees open up to the sky, and you find places with trees marked with X's.
Interesting.
Like we've seen before.
Have we seen
Yeah.
trees marked with X's? before?
Trees marked with X's, and the other trees around them, the tree's soul has been, or heart. I think it was heart. The tree's heart has been ripped out.
So if they've
I'm
got
looking
X's, they have
around to
no
see if I
heart.
can
It
find
means they're marked
any
for death.
evidence or indication as to A, how long ago they've been marked, and B, tracks on the ground, particularly looking out for the imprint of the staff that we saw at the Hydra and the other one.
So what we've
Okay.
come to assume is that
Of
what's his
Moorcroft.
name? Moorcroft has been
Yeah.
collecting the hearts of trees. We saw this in winter. He's been collecting the
Yeah.
hearts of the trees for
Yeah.
some
Reason.
reason. We don't
But
know
these
why.
ones aren't terminated yet. They're marked to be terminated.
Yes.
Okay, so Jeremy, you find Wolverine prints, the staff prints, the strange symbol prints,
Yep.
which you take to be a walking stick of some kind, and the boot prints that you recognize.
Right.
They look like that the person has come here in the last 6 months and has been here every few months.
Okay. Is that about the same sort of scale that the other one was at?
It's about the same sort of scale the other one was at. And in that region, all the life of the forest is dead. Where the trees have been cut open.
So they've actually been cut open.
Some of them have.
In the very center of that area where you can see the X's marked, the trees have been cut open.
So we can see the X and the missing heart.
You see the X's on the outside of the area, and the
Yeah.
closer you get to the
You
center,
said there are missing ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it was going confusing.
Yeah.
all good. That's why I reiterated. And that was about an hour out of the city.
Okay.
Where previously we found this
On the
after the Hydra.
You found it after the Hydra and before the
Before the Narwhal. Oh,
the
Narwhal.
Nerid.
I thought we saw the Nerid first
You
and
saw the
then the
Nerid
Hydra.
first. You did actually go past the trees at that point there
Oh, I
as well.
see. Okay.
But,
Yeah, we found a few patches of them, I think.
but amusingly at the time you just glanced and went past.
Yeah.
I rolled a 5.
Sounds like us, not gonna lie.
But you would recognize, thinking back, yes, you had passed these earlier.
Yeah.
As this is the fourth group you come across.
Okay.
Because you found some between the Eagle and the Chimera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, as far as we're aware, there's nothing we can do for the ones that are here, so we will aim to keep following the road to the south.
Okay.
Again, keeping a lookout for more withens and listening out for howls of wolves.
Wolves, you say?
I do so.
You fed the GM again, didn't you?
Just being reasonably prepared.
Okay. So, as you travel along the road, you hear the howls of wolves around you,
Close.
Around?
surrounding you.
Okay. I start prepping.
Do I
Bombs.
do I get the impression that they're normal wolves, or are we talking the big bad wolves?
Give me a perception roll.
I got an 18.
Natural 20 for 30.
How much did Lani get?
18.
I
again.
saw nothing.
I can tell you which ones we've heard before, and in fact, this is the brother of the one that went past previously.
So how did Paul go?
Sorry, what was the check on?
Perception.
Perception.
Yeah. 15. Boring.
Okay, so most of you hear the sound of wolves around you, sounding like you're boxed in, whereas the tribesman who lost his name can actually tell that the wolf sounds are coming from various trees around you.
Oh, wow.
From in the trees, like, or up the trees?
Up the trees.
Well, coming from the trees.
From
As if the trees are the
Need for tree
wolves.
trees.
Wolf trees?
Yeah, they're were trees.
Yeah.
Talk about a dogwood.
No. Tree pack hunters.
And
Grove hunters.
at each of the trees you also see a shimmering of something in front of the tree.
So they're like illusionarily hidden?
Or there's a bound close to them or something.
The
Closer to sea.
well, so the tribesman will indicate to the others to potentially take cover, but not necessarily behind trees. And
Nice.
he'll go forward to investigate one of these trees and the shimmering in front of it. Get a closer look.
Okay.
I'm preparing bombs.
I have my trident ready.
What is your passive perception?
20.
Okay. You feel a blade against your throat from either side.
Mm-hmm.
As you hear a voice speak to you in Sylvan.
You don't speak.
Can any of us hear it?
Just double check.
He
Ooh,
did
yeah.
walk ahead, so I'm
Yeah.
waiting to see what he says.
Okay.
Yeah, no, don't speak Sylvan. So but we'll return in common as he's effectively putting up a hand. And
As you put your hands up, you feel the movement of air around near your hands.
the movement of air near my hand,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to the movement of my hand itself, you mean?
As opposed to the movement of your hand itself.
Okay. But basically, yes, I'll be stating that, hey, not here to harm. Whilst, okay, certainly trying to look around to find out exactly what it was that they actually sneak up on me and how many there might be.
Okay, as you look around, you see standing, floating just above your shoulder either side, two tiny creatures with swords against your neck. And wings.
So,
And an angry sort of look on their faces.
and I can only see two but certainly it sounded like there was a lot more around us before.
And that's when the others also see the two appear floating next to the tribesman who lost his name.
I see them pointing swords.
Well, they have swords against his neck, which
Against
is
his neck.
the equivalent of an attack, so that they lost their invisibility. And Llewell also notices them as well.
Yeah.
They didn't hear the original Sylvan, did they?
No, they did not.
No.
No, not close enough.
I will. Well, it looks like they're not
I will,
moving.
as I say, while still
Okay. I guess here's the
open
question.
hands, let them know the fact that yes, there's certainly more around.
Yeah. So he has his hands up. Do we see them blink out of invisibility, holding still, or am I seeing movement as they come out?
They blink with basically hand outstretched and sword against his neck.
If they've got wings
side
and they're
of it.
tiny and in the
I
air,
will
then
continue
wings
to
are
hold
probably
at
moving.
the ready, but kind of like
You
probably.
feel a thump on your shoulder as something lands on it, and feel something poke you in the air.
Poke me in the ear.
Yeah.
Probably a sword.
Or probably something else. Stop.
And something talks at you in Sylvan.
I will say to Rule, they're speaking your language. Please, I'll hold very still. It's like they're speaking your language. Please translate that we don't mean harm.
In Sylvan, I'll hold my arms wide and say, "Greetings, for great forest warriors, proudest of the land. What can we help you with? Can we aid you? We're here in peace."
Okay.
You want me to make a persuasion roll on that?
No, that was enough. So you see before you appears a sprite, which is a fae with greeny glowing wings. Picture of roughly what the sprites look like.
Yep.
Cool.
Can you see that, Paul?
There is a picture.
Yep. It's a typical peachy sprite type image.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what they look like.
right things.
That was a player character. I would 100% play that.
Yeah.
And
There wasn't a camera that's actually doing anything at the moment, Martin.
It was one where Martin's visible. Like on my screen, it's all of the three. Or not including the dice camera.
Can you see
Yeah.
me moving?
It's just, no, I just saw Martin presenting the book and it wasn't anywhere I could see what was on the page.
sorry,
That's fine.
lights
Unless you were
upgrade.
showing cursor at the time.
Okay.
But anyway, it was just an image of what you would know as a player.
Yeah, he's a base.
Sprite or pixie or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it flies before you with a bow drawn and arrow pointed right at your eye.
Is that one of the four that we'd actually already revealed, or is this an extra one?
An extra one.
Yeah.
And it says, and it speaks to you back in Sylvan. Why are you traveling with the murderers?
They are bound to the same quest I am. They must be here, and they are safe.
They're human. All humans are murderers.
I'm not human.
As you notice, you also haven't got a pixie attack either.
Yes.
Yes, I know,
Oh,
but
you're talking
I'd
about
still
things like
like
this.
to point out that I am not human.
But you're not elf.
Yes, but you don't speak Sylvan either, do you?
Yes, I do.
Yes, she does.
You do. Okay, cool. But yes, the forest creatures like gnomes, so they're not an issue. Anyway, all in situations like this only means most, enough that exceptions can be ignored. However, when we are questing, exceptions are not to be ignored. These people are not murderers. They are not tree murderers. They are safe for you. They're safe for the forests and woodlands. And they are on a quest to help the great life tree. They must be here.
So their actions are like your actions.
Yes, I make them so.
So you take responsibility for all they do.
Yes, I must.
Okay. You feel the weapon come out of your head.
I will put my trident away.
And Jeremy, you feel the swords pulled away from your neck as the pixies float off
Right.
and disappear.
And I'm also trying to remember, was there a pixie or sprite type key?
No.
No, there was not.
Yeah, I will tell
Just
the
a
others.
centaur. Chimeram. No, definitely
But
not.
there are some that don't necessarily have quote unquote monsters tied to them, so
We
they
could
still
ask
may
about them.
they still may or may not be a guardian of a key, or they might just be inhabitants of the realm.
Because there is
And
a
then I have
warrior
information
key.
about the other inhabitants.
Yes. Definitely.
And so,
Warrior, justice, and house keys. So those three are not tied to any kind of creature.
at the moment, there's only one visible in there, still floating before the well, and he puts his bow and arrow away.
Waiting on the world to return to work.
Yeah,
So-
the Giants will be basically taking the opportunity to keep a watch on the surroundings with doubly attentive, having things to be caught up on.
I will tell the sprite. I will remind them why they're here and what the duties are. And to clarify, sure we all know what they are. I then tell the others in Atruaghin or whatever common language we happen to have, a kind of one of those. The sprites have accepted you're with me explicitly, and this means I'm responsible for your actions. Please don't kill things indiscriminately or set light to any trees.
Have I done so far?
No, I'm just reiterating for their sake to make sure that they know that you know what your duties are in this circumstance. It's either that or I got a sprite sword in my ear and that was not pleasant. Or sprite arrow in my eye would not have been pleasant. So,
Well, he made sure you'd see it coming.
Ha 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 ha.
yeah. Small, suddenly gets bigger, disappears.
Well, he might also have the gravity bow spell, which makes the arrow increase in size.
Yeah, that would be amusing. That would be, he shoots me from that far away and my eye ends up out the back of my skull.
Yeah. Objects in the eye may be closer than they appear.
Yeah.
He asks you why you were here. All the elves
As
have gone.
As I said, I did mention it was there. We are on a quest to save the great life tree, the one which all of the other elven life trees depend.
Yes, but all the guardians are sleeping.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're having to deal with.
And humans keep ripping the guardians' hearts out.
Yes, stopping that one person and his minions is one of the things that we're in the midst of doing.
Yes. The humans generally get rid of sprites when they find them.
Yeah, because most humans have no idea what they're looking at.
Being able to understand the conversation, I asked the sprites if they can give us any information about the humans who have been ripping out the hearts of the tree, so that we
Yes.
may more efficiently track them down and stop them from doing it.
Well, he flies on a greater wyvern.
flies on a wyvern.
Greater wyvern, bigger than the others.
Greater wyverns,
Wow.
dragon size.
Okay.
Which would fit with the tracks that we found in all the dead trees.
Yep.
Yes.
And he uses magic.
Well, considering we just saw some trees, can we get maybe a more accurate timing of his last passing in the area?
The sprite is confused with the term time.
We're outside of time currently.
He's a creature of the Fae.
Yeah, they
Time
have
has
no
no meaning
concept
to
of
him.
time.
They don't even have concept as it having meaning to humans,
They know it's important to humans, but
but they don't understand it beyond that.
yeah,
It's a thing humans are.
it's
Okay.
a thing that something else is interested in.
Do they ever, like, there's different seasons here. Do they acknowledge that the seasons are a thing that changes?
No, he's a summer sprite. It's
So
always summer.
has no idea about the. Okay, fair enough.
It's been summer for as long as you can remember.
I was going to say,
That's
I
right.
don't think the section.
The seasons around here are set by geography, not by time.
Mm.
Well, when elves mess with things, they do mess with things.
Yeah.
So he's a summer sprite.
Fair enough. Okay. Do they know what direction he was last in?
He goes and converses with some of his other sprites. You can sort of hear many voices, but only see one sprite.
Mm-hmm.
Then he comes back and says, last known he was flying south.
Okay. We're heading south right now, aren't we?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. We're on track. Luel, are you going to ask any more questions?
Given the quest that we are presently on, is there any guidance or aid that you are willing to give us?
Okay, first thing that they suggest is never trust a human.
Yes,
Do they know about the other guardians within this area and or surrounding areas?
Okay, they say that you are not far from the Griffin Fields.
Do we know anything about griffins?
Anything we need to watch out for with the griffins?
Says they are probably the elves did something to them. So he's unsure how they are different, just that he knows that they are different.
Okay. This is definitely more challenging than Sudoku.
Does he know of any others other than the griffins that we already had some information about?
Yes.
So they sometimes,
any particular warnings about the griffins?
yeah, they hate humans.
Seems everything
Well,
here
no,
hates
look,
humans.
It's a given. A lot of humans don't like humans.
Well, he says with authority, there's probably good reason for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the conversation with the Pickaxe Spider is all in Sylvan.
It is all in
yes.
silver.
The tribes were simply interrupting the flow of conversation, saying, "Do they know about this? Do they know about that?"
Yeah.
So,
We relay that, and
and so, but it means that the Pixies can be saying whatever they like about human, and he doesn't care because he's not following it.
well, okay. I will say, yes, we are talking a lot, and we're not translating. Anything that we do not translate for you is the is the sprites making derogatory comments about humans.
Good luck to him.
Yeah, well, warranted or not, it's a point of view we have to deal with.
And they do converse with the Centaur pack every now and then.
Okay.
Now that's interesting. What
Yeah,
do they
well-
know about the Centaur key then? If anything.
Do you know anything to the sprites? Do you know anything about any keys that look like coins?
He looks at you and says, "What's a coin?"
Small round things like a slice of tree branch.
Well, he's seen a
Slice up a tree branch.
Pardon?
Why would you slice up a tree branch?
Well, they make weapons out of them.
Yeah, they make weapons out of them, and slicing up dead wood for fires is something you always do. I've watched you do it. I did not say live tree. I did not specifically say live tree branch.
All right, I was being facetious.
Yeah.
He says he has seen one on a bronze statue.
Where?
Where is this? Yes, where is this bronze statue, please?
This statue is to the east, on a hilltop.
Okay.
Actually, I think it's a valley. Yeah, the grading's not great for that.
Hmm.
Did they say where the centaurs were?
The centaurs were to the east of the Griffin Fields.
Right.
And the statue is further to the east.
We make notes for future reference.
Do they know anything about a white tower?
Oh, there is a white tower to the south. They don't go that far anymore because most of them don't come back.
Did you used to go there?
Well, that was part of their hunting grounds.
So, but now hunting packs rarely return. Have any returned to tell of what the issue is?
Some return, but more don't return than return. And the ones that do return don't know why others didn't return.
Yeah.
So they don't report any
So-
kind of experience. Their
Or-
peers just
yes.
disappear.
Their peers have just disappeared.
Exactly. Those that killed don't come back. Those that are not killed didn't beat whatever it was that was killing them.
Yes.
So they don't go there very often now. They only go there in need.
Well, we know where to find 3 more keys, roughly.
Just thinking what are the other keys that we potentially don't know about at the moment? Rather than asking about random things, we may be able to ask them, hey, have you seen
So
blah?
we've got leads on the Griffin key and a Centaur key and a possible 3rd key in a bronze statue.
Yep.
We don't know what happened to where the Justice key, the Lizard key, although I think actually we had a lead to the Lizard key at one stage. I just have to read my notes.
I
nymph-
was more talking about the idea of, okay, so we've got a lizard key.
Yep.
We can potentially ask the
Yep.
pixies, are there any giant lizards or dragons or things like that?
Yeah.
Although we already know of a great wyvern, which probably counts anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
more
what
just
counts,
what's
not a
the key
local
code?
creature.
Is there some obvious guardian that we can ask about?
We've got to go back and collect the Narwhal and the Nymph key.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Lizard key, the Justice key, I'm not sure how we would ask them about that.
I can't think of it.
Same with the House or the Warrior key, which are...
Yeah, again, I mean, that might be the white tower for the house.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
They
they
don't know enough about the locality.
respond
But
to
you
you that
said-
there are none of that they don't travel outside of this season.
Okay.
So they only know what's in this season.
Yeah. So this season's got the centaurs, the griffins,
And the
And-
warrior.
the statue.
Yeah, the warrior.
And so the White Tower is beyond their hunting grounds and therefore beyond summer.
It's inside of summer, but it's now.
They don't go that far
go that
anymore
far
because they
anymore.
keep getting killed.
Yeah.
So that technically we've got leads then on 3 other keys, and we have to go back and get 2, which will put.
Which will actually the Nereid has the Narwhal key, the Narwhal key, and then the mermaid key, which the Nereid thought the Narwhal has, is actually missing entirely. So, that one's missing. The Hydra key is missing with clues leading to Moorcroft. So, we can assume he has 1, possibly 2.
I think the general thing at the moment is anything wrong is Moorcroft's fault.
Seems to feel something. Well, if you ask one of the old type silver things, it's anything happening wrong is a human's fault.
Yeah, that's more likely.
Which was Moorcroft an elf or a human?
Reported to be a human.
Sorcerer, I'm guessing, because he's using magic.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's been around since the end of the Second Realm.
Yeah.
And he rides a wyvern, a greater wyvern.
Yes.
Or at least, because it was Moorcroft that pushed him out of the realm in the first place.
It was.
The fact that apparently he's still here, or someone with the same name is still here,
He's worrying.
protects his concern.
Yeah.
Particularly since back then he was powerful enough to push the elves out of their own home.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a bit nasty.
but yes, I'm thinking that we're probably not getting anything more out of the sprites at the present time. I would suggest, yes, thanking them for their aid, and
Yes, I thank them profusely.
the fact that, yes, we shall continue on and we'll attempt to find out what the problem is to the south to allow access to your realm again, your hunting range again.
They give Llewell a tiny horn and say, give them a truth if you want to converse with them, and they will arrive when they can.
I will do that very thing. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I'm giving him a gift back and giving him like a really small container of booze.
Yeah.
Because like an old potion bottle washed out and filled with whiskey should do all of them for about a week. Or a day or so.
What we really need is a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
Savoury well bread.
Yes, I know the reference, Jeremy.
Yes.
All right.
But yeah, so we shall aim to continue southwards down the road. Again, the guy was now on double alert as he's going along.
Sometimes that doesn't seem to help him, but I admire his commitment to it.
Yes.
Okay, so as you're getting close to sunset, you come to an area of grasslands. First time you've found any scenery other than forests
Or mountains.
or mountains. And as you step out there, you feel a low underground rumble. You give everyone a perception roll.
14.
Is the Tyson?
25, 18 plus 7.
21.
Okay. So, as you're moving through there, you see Lani get shot into the air by a column of water coming out of the ground.
Lots of fun.
Title!
Is this like a underground spout type thing?
A geyser.
Yeah, geyser, that's awesome.
Okay, so it is to be more of a natural thing rather than a specifically magical effect.
As you're looking around, you recognise that there's probably hundreds of them in this region.
And there are spells that will do that.
So, but the point being, if it's natural, then it means that it's less likely to be directly enemy action.
It can also be a magically formed natural barrier
It could be.
where like this just randomly pops up. Anyway,
Um,
do I fall?
So she's been thrown up. Is it like, was it instantaneous, or is she still up there? What's the effect?
Well, it shoots up about 30 feet.
Hang on a sec.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does someone need to catch her?
And you find yourself suspended in the air on top of the water rushing up.
this is
So
cool.
what
It's
is
like a
continuing
cartoon. So it's like
It's not instantaneous. It's continuous at the present time.
Yeah, it continues for about 6 rounds.
Wow.
so I'm up there for a full minute. Okay.
But
Or no. That's
10 rounds.
yeah.
Well,
Math.
Close.
the
Hard.
Tycoon,
Still too long.
40 seconds,
Exactly.
roughly.
Yes.
And as you're up on top...
I just got the grassland, didn't we?
Yeah, just going into grasslands.
I was about to say, I toss a rope over a branch and then with the idea of the end going towards the top of the geyser, but
As Lani gets shot into the air, you see a flock of large creatures coming your way from the east. As they seem to be swooping down towards the geyser.
You're about
This
to be
is how-
taken by a griffin.
This is how they hunt.
Or griffin.
Yes. They wait for some poor animal to be shot up, and then they just catch him out of the air. All right.
the tribesman's going to pull out his whistle, or like pull the whistle from the and aim to fly up and
Grab Lani.
allow.
I was gonna say, in this chaos, do I see the griffins?
Yes.
Do I?
You
Can
also
I-
hear them.
I was gonna say, can I make a roll to try to get a weapon out? Okay, so I'll roll something. Oh, I got 20.
You definitely get a weapon out.
So I'll get it trident out for
You get your trident out, you get the shot going, and then, whoops,
I'm
water.
just-
So Jeremy
I'm just
pulled
gonna.
out his whistle.
I'm gonna hold it
Allows him to fly.
in a defensive position, waiting for the water to stop.
And then, as doing that, the tribesman flies up beside you and sticks a foot out and indicates to grab on.
Yep, do that.
Okay, and then you
And
fly.
then basically aim to control the descent back down, so it's slightly more, not at 9.8 meters per second squared.
So you get a softer landing and don't have to roll.
It's falling with style.
It is.
Okay.
And then, yes, he's definitely getting his bow out, ready to defend against flying creatures that we've now recognised are hexapedal. As in they've got 4 hooves and a couple wings.
That is true. Just bringing up the picture so
4
people
feet.
can see.
Who's
I tried to, yes, it's not even this. So, yeah.
Yes. Reference those 4 paws.
What weapon did you draw? A trident?
Yeah, I have my lightning trident.
All them
Which
up
is
and all them.
A
Not
bit
very well. There we go. So there's the griffin picture.
cute.
So
you have- you
not
have
hooves, more paws and claws.
Two claws, 2 paws, and 2 wings.
Yeah, so I was thinking of hippogriffs when I said hooves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
A griffin is basically a winged lion with an eagle's head.
yeah.
So eagle
Line
front, line back.
It's like it's got eagle front claws. So,
Yeah. Yeah, depending on the depiction, but the D&D one, yes.
Okay. So
How many do we see?
how many are we seeing?
you are seeing a sky full of them as 16 are heading towards you from different directions.
Don't point your weapons at them.
No, so I've got the bow knocked, but doesn't need to be pointed at them. But it's staying with an arrow knock.
They fly past shrieking. That would work.
The tries to wait and take up a spot that's effectively beside the geyser that Lani went up in, on the idea that if it goes again, well, hey, I'll provide some cover. But it also then means that you know, try calling out to them. Try treating them like we have the sprites and the other creatures here. See if they'll be friends.
Yes. That was my plan, because facing them in combat is not something I want to do.
Okay.
It's a bit squishy.
So Lowell calls out.
So basically the same greeting I gave the sprites. Welcoming them, lauding them as champions of the forest and masters of the air.
In which language?
Sylvan, I'd be guessing. Everything here seems to be Sylvan.
Yes, I'd start with Sylvan. There's not really a lot of choices around here, and Sylvan is going to be the better one than Elvish, I think.
So the sprites did tell you differently.
What did they say?
They say the elves had done something to them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. In that case, it will be in Elvish first, and if that doesn't work, I'll switch to Sylvan.
Okay. So what do you call out?
I believe it was platitudes and
Then I will give him a diplomacy check.
Yeah, it was welcoming them as great warriors and protectors of the realm, as I'd done for the sylphs. And that's a 16.
16. Okay. So as you call out to them, you notice that they all turn their heads to look at you as you call out.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of them flies off to the east.
Oh.
And it just seems to be circling you at this time.
Well, this is a good start. They're not easiness.
depends on why they're going east.
That's true.
Mm.
But, yeah, anything involving griffins where they haven't started to eat you is a good start.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very hard to continue a conversation when you're dead.
Never mind. I guess Lonnie hasn't come across griffins before.
It is a symbol of the Thiatin nobility.
Okay.
They use them with their military units
How?
for space support.
Okay. How
And
intelligent does Lonnie know them to be?
Intelligent enough to be more than a beast, but not a
Okay.
They're not reading an elven library anytime soon.
Yeah.
No. They're easy
So
to train. They
A
can
little bit more than a
understand-
trained animal.
Yeah, a
Okay.
little bit more. About chimp level.
Okay,
But
so
some places use them as aerial cavalry.
which the Thiatins and the Karamikins do.
Yeah.
Okay, because there is an actual knighthood in Karamikos dedicated to Griffin Riders.
That sounds cool.
Yes.
But from Lenny's perspective, they're tarnished by the fact that they're all Thiatins, and the Thiatins.
Not a fan. I'm not a fan.
It's equivalent of you were, they were the enslavers of your lands,
Yeah.
and you kicked them out.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But that doesn't mean you couldn't have kept the griffins.
Still, it's their thing. I don't dislike griffins. I just
Well,
don't think I would ever train and befriend a griffin Unless needed.
Griffins take up too much space on a boat.
They do.
They do.
Fair point.
And they eat horses.
Yes. That is
Which
one of
also
the-
take up space on the boat for food.
Yeah. But there is one of the things, if somebody has a griffin in the party, nobody else should get a hippogriff.
No.
Not friends.
Because you'll end up with a fat griffin.
Yeah.
Okay, so after about a minute or two, you see the griffin who flew off to the east head back, followed by a larger griffin.
Okay, so they brought Daddy home?
And
The tribe shaman.
Yeah.
as it comes towards you, all the 15 remaining griffins land around the party.
I make
So
sure
this
I'm
is-
inside the circle of the party people so I don't become a snack. I also have a stink bomb ready just in case they think about it.
The tribesmen's aim to stay near Old Faithful.
I would take up more. I've had my trident out, like, so I would take up more guard position than on attack position.
Okay. And the largest of the griffins lands and near Luell and starts walking towards Luell.
I bow and greet him as a wisdom of the woods. Sorry, wisdom of the skies.
Okay.
Because buttering people up is my job.
You notice that the one in front of you is a lot older than the others.
Yeah.
He has a lot of grey feathers. And he, as he sort of bows towards you, which is interesting seeing a griffin bow.
Yeah.
Not a common sight. You see all the others seem to bow around you as well.
Yes. Yes. Fortunately, I'm hoping this is visibly different to pouncing ready to strike. Because that's what it would look like on a four-legged critter.
I almost want to name him Keydith II, but that's just gonna make him Kenneth Griffey Jr.
Well, you certainly could. It would be part of your own head canon.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay, so
Yes. So there it is. You've done that.
it looks at you and then looks to the east.
We need to go that direction. Thank you for your guidance.
And
Is that where the key is?
then it starts trotting off in that direction.
I guess we follow?
Follow?
I don't suppose you'd give me a piggyback. I figure I can't keep up with a griffin.
I will give do a piggyback.
Sparkle bomb goes off.
Perfect, we're covered in glitter. This is exactly what I want. Yes.
Okay, so
So are they leading the way to the? Are they offering the key?
they are leading the way
Well-
in a direction.
They're taking us east. What
They're-
for and
I think that's
wherefore
right.
we don't know.
But
But yes, but they haven't actually spoken much yet, have they?
well, they
No.
They have not spoken at all.
yeah.
Right. So,
And this is the oldest of them.
I
Oh,
would
the oldest one we've seen.
Yes.
I
Do
would
they-
be walking behind, well, with Duke on my shoulders. I'm sure as tiny glitter sparks
Right
fall
behind
off.
us. Yep. Leaving
Yeah.
a sparkly trail.
And what was that, Jeremy?
for the purposes of speaking with animals, do these count as animals? They're not, are they? They're actually magical beasts, aren't they?
They are monstrosities,
Right.
but they have animal intelligence.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Which means you can. They have a high enough intelligence you can talk to them without needing spells.
But they're not. But they haven't responded at all yet, other than
They're just
So,
ignoring
Paul,
us.
what I'm trying
Yeah.
to answer there
Sorry.
for Jeremy is that speak with animals would consider them animal intelligence.
So it would work on them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. From what we've seen, they appear to be capable of speech. They appear to understand it potentially, or at least recognise it.
Yeah.
But they made no attempt to actually speak in return.
Which is not unusual for animals brought up in a society that become part of a society. They can understand the language, but generally not speak it.
That's right. In the same way, your dog could recognise some basic commands and things like that.
I don't know. I'd be questioning about that for my brother's dog because he understands an awful lot of English, including cheese, walkies, the difference between cheese and hot dogs.
25 words can go a hell of a long way when you're talking about dog-related things.
Yes, that's true.
But
yeah. Does anyone
and
here have speak with animals?
Yeah. Hmm?
Does anyone here have speak with animals?
I pointed at the gnome.
Oh, I do?
Do you?
Do I? I don't know.
No, you don't at this stage.
No, I didn't think so.
Oh. The particular type of gnome you are doesn't have that.
Not all gnomes get it.
Considering I'm an artificer?
That's a class thing. This is a racial ability I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Most gnomes, or the gnomes most people know about, have the ability to talk to sylvan creatures.
Well, that's the
Doesn't last
forest.
very long.
That's the forest gnomes.
Yeah. That's the one most people meet.
Yeah, so I don't.
I haven't really looked at the sub races for gnomes.
I don't have that.
As we're going along, the tribesman starts calling out in large screeches, calling, whatever. And by activating a ring, he's going to use one charge on his K Panther ring to speak with animals.
Okay. So, while you're going to sort out what you're going to ask them, I'm going to quickly duck to the bathroom.
Yep.
Yep.
I've been feeding him too much tea, coffee, and energy drink. So that we can conspire without him, even though it's been recorded on video and he could eventually discover us.
Exactly. This is where we make our secret plans now.
He's so busy, he probably wouldn't have time to check up on us unless we specifically told him to.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He posts those videos. He doesn't watch them.
No, he watches some of them. It depends on. So it depends on whether or not a player who couldn't attend had questions. He'll use that to remind himself. Sometimes, if a lot has happened and he hasn't been able to keep as many notes, he'll watch them just to remind himself of what happened so that he's on the ball for the next game. It was quite a lot of work in prepping for games.
Yeah.
Which is kind of good for me because I'm in 3 of them.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough.
I didn't mean to be, but
Yeah,
COVID happened.
Yeah, well, there was that. Yeah, I found that running various different games, D&D has the highest preparation to game time
Yeah.
of any system I've ever met.
Although he puts quite a bit into Star Wars, but I think that's because he's homebrewing it to make it much more playable.
Yeah.
And I think the one he can kind of wing it a bit more with his, I think, Pathfinder. But don't quote me.
Yeah.
I can barely figure out whether I've got the right spells for things at the moment. I'm getting there.
Yeah. Yeah. From my read through of the Genesis FFG system, he would need a little bit of TLC to tune it to actually play well.
Yeah. But the version he's running right now has actually been pretty good.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. Made it easy to jump in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, we were actually discussing
Genesis system in Star Wars.
conspiring against you and the likelihood that you'll watch the video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
saying
also
it's not as
they're
unlikely
telling you
as-
that. So
So we didn't use it for useful things like figuring out what we were about the griffins, because I don't know, that would be a useful thing to have done.
So Jeremy.
Okay, so I'll ask you the question, where are we going?
The big one stops walking and looks at you and says, "Our friend speak?" With a question.
Elf friend?
Our friend
Yes.
speak.
Not our friend, but ELF friend. Okay, cool.
yes, everything's in relation to me here.
The clans are friends with the totems and those of similar ilk. So, you wish us to go somewhere?
Take elf to nest.
Very good. We are looking for a key that you might be protecting. Is that the nest?
We have no key at nest.
Have you been, okay, we're happy to keep walking as we're doing this chatting, but you only get 10 minutes of this anyway, so depending on how far the nest is, it's not going to talk for long. But yeah, we're aiming to,
Does
you have you or your ancestors, your predecessors, your parents and their parents, did they look after a small object?
Ground.
And it'll draw a bit of a circle in the ground type stuff.
The griffin makes lots of angry sounds. Wings sort of get very flappity. All the griffins around you make angry sounds. Wings get all flappity flap. They're digging up at the ground as the leading one says, "Back to you. Bad human wolf stole talisman.
human wolf?
Human wolves stole talisman."
Human wolves. Werewolves.
Werewolves.
So we gotta go find those werewolves.
And if
We
the
will be able to, if you know exactly where they may have stolen it or taken it to, we may be able to assist them in recovery.
when there's a fraud to use.
Though you'd also want to probably calm the rest of the party, as it sounds like all the griffins are currently very much ticked off.
And planning to eat somebody.
Yep.
I will tell the others that they're not agitated at us.
Now, unfortunately, Llewellyn can't understand them at this time because they're not speaking Elvish. They're clucking and screeching.
It's up
Yeah, I know
to
about what
Jeremy.
they need to say.
The tribesman.
Yeah. And okay, the tribe was also clucking and screeching to them, so. And I'm just looking at the spell saying the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't actually mean I can't actually communicate in other languages or things like
You
that.
can,
So,
yes.
yeah. I will certainly let the others know that yes. The
We
issue
are-
is that the Morcock's army have struck here again.
We are equally outraged
Yes.
and want
Yeah.
to bring balance.
So the
Jeez, that's like at least
Yeah.
3 that are stolen. 4 maybe.
Yeah.
Mm.
the
You might have more
did
reason with it.
the Griffin respond to the idea of if he knew where the wolfmen might have taken it?
They say, take you to nest, get you saddled, take you to wolfmen.
Alright. This
I just get
sounds
this-
good.
Okay. So, be aware. Okay, so yes, lead us on to the next there. We shall get there and recover the talisman as quickly as possible.
Okay, takes you on.
I won't be able to talk. I will talk again to you when we need to, but won't talk again for a little while.
Okay, so you end up having to take an extended march, so each of you take one level of exhaustion as you reach the nest. As the sun set long ago,
Yeah.
by the time you reach it.
Okay. The yes. Well, by the time we get there, I will aim to indicate in gestures and elvish bits and pieces without necessarily using another charge on the wing. That we should rest before setting out to recover the medallion, or the talisman I use. And do they seem happy enough that they can understand the idea of resting for the evening?
They do understand that you can rest for the evening.
As long as we get to the nest first, we should be able to do whatever.
Well, it also then means that we can start the next day without a level of exhaustion, assuming we can sleep peacefully.
Yep.
So,
This is perhaps the safest that we've slept so far.
I don't know, the rock was pretty.
I think being surrounded by a whole flock.
Well,
griffins?
where you
Yes.
had 16 griffins around you before, you've got close to 100 now.
Yeah.
All angry at the
Yes.
wolves.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
it may not be the actual safest, but it's going to feel like the safest.
well, I don't know. I suspect that for Lani, the safest she's felt is when we've been sleeping in the tower at night.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like in the man-made bricks and mortar tower, whereas the safest that Goodwood felt would be in the house of the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly the gnome might be likewise, or with the rock.
We'd also like the technology.
He's feeling reasonably safe. You can't actually talk to these griffins, but he did talk and he's happy and friendly with them. But
Yeah.
so,
So working well so far.
So in the morning, you find the griffins have brought in some old saddles.
Okay.
They still look serviceable.
Fair enough. We're going to have to put them on, aren't we? Because
Oh,
the griffins
yeah.
aren't going to be able to build the buckles and stuff.
They don't have this pesky little thing called thumbs, so no.
Yeah. And fingers without claws. Oh, there's the thing, by the way, Martin. I did check up on the 5th ed stuff about mounts.
Yep.
There is no keyword mount. So what a mount is what they've got in a list of things called mount and whatever else the GM allows a player to get away with.
Yeah.
It's can you make friends with it, can you tame it, can you make the rolls to turn it into a mount. That's pretty well it. There's no other real restriction.
What relevance is this?
So there's no.
It was
well,
one of the
from last
last
session.
session
Okay.
statements.
Yeah. There's no mount keyword, so there's no restrictions on what a mount is.
Because Pathfinder 2 has the mount keyword.
Pathfinder 2 has an explicit keyword, as do
We're
4 and
in the
3.5.
It makes it easier to do certain things with keywords.
Yeah.
Because it takes away the ambiguity for a lot of people. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you've also got things like magic items and feats that work explicitly on mounts and not other creatures.
okay, so you guys get to rest up amongst a bunch of griffins, and it's by midday that you're starting to saddle them after your 8 hours rest.
Okay, so.
Right. We do not share their breakfast.
I believe we've probably got trail rations.
We've got our own food.
Yeah.
But these are griffins. They're obligate carnivores.
you say that that's a bad thing.
Well, from the point of view of people who aren't obligate carnivores, yes, it is a bad thing.
I'd
Oh,
argue
the
some
tribesman
humans
has
are.
no concern.
No.
Okay. And so after fixing the saddles in place, which are fairly intuitive considering there's only so many ways you can fit on a griffin,
Yep.
Yeah.
and most saddles are designed amongst certain styles.
Yep.
With the saddles are harnesses and long lances.
Okay. Yeah, definitely cavalry.
So, as we're getting things ready, or just before we head off, or whatever, anyway, the tribesman, you got a charge on the ring, which hopefully is back up to full charge again, because it gets D3 each dawn.
Yep,
Hopefully the dawn gear counts.
it does.
Surprisingly enough, it's the same dawn as he's used to.
Yes.
And we'll be aiming to see if we get some information out of them as to exactly what it is that we're going into, how many of the wolfmen there are, any of that kind of information they might have, and might be able to understand how to provide. So, I mean, I guess that's they're not actually animal intelligent, so it can probably tell a bit more than a normal animal could. But
Okay, it tells you about flaming dogs.
hellhounds, that was the other one that was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Was good. Yes, I knew it was a third creature amongst the patrols.
Orcs and men.
Yep.
Led by human wolves.
Right.
And where are they living, or how are they?
We're on location. Yeah.
On the outskirts of the forest.
Yeah. But are they just?
But the ones who attacked them are to the south of Smoking Hill.
Okay.
Looking around, can we see a smoking hill? To where we are?
Not in this distance. But to the east it is darker. The sky is darker. So you're thinking there may be a volcano in that direction.
Yes.
Or a small hill and a smoking jacket.
Do they have any information or understanding of how they're living? Like, are they actually just squirreled haphazardly on the ground in tents, or they got buildings, or?
They basically say wall around. I'd probably say nest around hill. Many small nests inside.
So a town.
Fort, maybe?
Yeah. And do they have any idea of total numbers?
Well, the only things they seem to care about are the fact that they have 8 lesser dragons with them.
Right.
But plus orcs, hellhounds, wolfmen, but yes, they count 8 lesser dragons.
Yeah.
Will there be one doggy to each dragon? Or 2 doggies to each dragon?
Dog men or hellhounds?
Fire.
I have to admit that I'm just going to doggy at the time being, but
One flaming man for all doggies.
One flaming man
Yeah.
for all the doggies.
Yeah.
Okay.
and the orcs, they again one per dragon, 2 per dragon, 100 per dragon.
Many orcs.
Right.
That's a general description of orcs. Many of them.
I don't know whether or not the 4 or 5 of us is going to be enough.
And they go, how long does it go to the next south of Smoky Hill?
They can fly there in an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, the best we can do is nick something and disrupt them. There's no way though we could face them directly. We can't assume you're all level 1 and 2.
So, by the looks of things from the griffin you're talking to, he's expecting that all the griffins are coming with you.
So we've got ourselves an army?
Yep.
Yeah, if we're going to face off against orcs, we've got a method to do so.
Am I able to make bombs for the griffins to drop?
You could, but
That would be scary.
unfortunately most of them don't last long beyond when you make them. You can
The
make...
point of me is that
So you'd have to go up on one of the griffins and drop bombs.
You can
from
drop
there.
them off a griffin yourself,
yeah.
but giving it to them to take away from you and then drop at a later time doesn't always work.
Have the griffins ever attacked the orc nest before? Or the lesser dragon nest before?
Not had Elf to lead them.
So they need leadership, it seems.
Well, that was part of the question I was thinking is if they had been attacking it before, then it would mean that if they suddenly attack now, then it makes a good diversion. But if they've never attacked before, then it means it's less effective as a diversion. Obviously, it'll still work because 100 griffins will take the attention of most things. But we don't necessarily want the griffins to put themselves in unreasonable danger either.
8 lesser dragons, I don't know how easy they are to kill for griffins.
So, yes.
You know, wyverns are also known as lesser dragons.
Yeah, that's right. But the
Well, I don't
indication
know
is,
how hard they are to kill for griffins either.
but and they've not actually fought them previously. Is that right?
Yeah.
That they avoid them because most of the time they don't have large numbers.
Right.
They're really a hunting number.
So the reason why they've gathered their numbers is because of this recent offence?
No, elf shooter.
Oh, okay. Alright, fair enough.
Yeah, Alpha the talkie man.
Yeah. We
Okay.
should possibly develop a strategy?
Well, we
What, a
can.
plan?
I was gonna suggest I suggest a 3-point move. You have one coming in from one side, another coming in from another side, with us coming through in the middle. Basically, forcing them to kind of take position around versus coming all at once.
Yeah.
Thus splitting up their forces a little bit more. Since they are dug in, they have a bit of an advantage. So if you split them up, it's a lot easier.
Yeah. Sounds
I
good.
also might be 100% incorrect on that strategy, but it's fine.
We will find out.
Yeah.
Does that sound good to you guys?
Well, so one of the questions is the intent to try and take out the camp, or just get access to then try and search for the key?
I think.
And from the Griffin's perspective,
What are they wanting?
would they be
Yeah.
happy at the idea of attacking without trying to destroy the camp? Because obviously they're all gathering together for a mass assault.
Yep.
It becomes extremely dangerous for them if the intent is to not actually destroy the
Yep.
threat.
You have a feeling they will defer to whatever Llewellyn chooses.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's up to
So
Ooh,
basically,
then.
we come up with a plan. I tell them what the plan is, and then we go do it.
Yeah.
And
So
I'll give
just
you a
wait
fortnight
on-
to think about that because it is 10:30ish,
Woohoo!
and that gives you a chance to figure out how you'd like a army of griffins to help you find your medallion.
then take over the world. Sorry, no.
No, I'm totally with you. Taking over the world seems good.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that.
Yep.
All good.
Yep, thank you guys.
And yes, you managed to successfully deal with the sprites and the griffins.
Yeah, that's good news.
Pretty successful.
Yeah.
And Ilsundil's house, which could have turned out badly for some of you.
Yes, I do not doubt this. Jeremy got off easy.
Well, not really. He would have been happy to stay outside the building.
Good to sleep inside.
It's a fair point. It's not exactly comfortable, you know, getting lightning bolted across the room.
Okay, then, well, thanks very much, guys.
Yep.
Good night.
We'll see you tomorrow, Martin. See the rest of you next week or the week after.
Yep.
Okay.
See ya.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night.
Till next game. Bye.
Yeah. Alright.
To be what?